Gas masks and hand grenades.
Welcome. Oh, it's still there, damn it. I didn't hit remove. All right, now we're good. I'm getting it down. It's just tricky. I'll get it down one of these days. What's up, everybody? Gas masks and hand grenades here. I am your host, Jeff, and look who we have here. Sorry, we're a little bit late. We're running actually it's 9. Wait, what time is it? It's 9:08. We're late, so whatever. You guys got to unmute.
I am unmuted.
Jake, unmuted. All right. What's up, guys? Good to see you all. We are here tonight. I got my buddy Rick from the Dreadful Minutes, and I've got my buddy Jake from the Upside Down Church. We don't get Jake around here for these deep dives too often, but this is a special one for him, for me, and for Rick. We really love this band, and it's kind of been sort of stewing for a while. It's been in my brain for a good 7-8 months. And we finally are going to do this. We're going to talk about the Finnish Gods of Death Doom, Swallow the Sun. Yeah, my shirt didn't come in, so I'm rocking the Gehenna shirt. Yes, I'm wearing the same shirt from last night because it only got here yesterday. So I, just chill, man. I'm going to do the laundry soon.
What do you call Swallow the Sun fans? Like, they're not swallowers?
Oh, well, they could
agree.
It could be. I don't know. Do they swallow it all or just a little bit? Or are they spitters? You know what they say about spitters? They're
sun swallowers. I don't know.
There we go. But yeah, we're going to talk about the Swallow the Sun catalog. Now, when we first were going to do that, well, up until about an hour ago, we were going to actually tackle the whole catalog, but Jake and I, in discussion, decided that maybe we needed another week for the back half of the catalog. I was in the hospital the other day for about 10 hours. Really, I did actually listen to 2 albums while I was in there in my earbuds, but I was going back and forth for CAT scans and blood work and ultrasounds and all kind of bullshit. And, of course, they came away with, we don't know what's wrong with you. You're fucked up in the head probably. But yeah, long story short, I lost a good half day there, and that kind of killed me for the back half of the catalog. So what we're going to do, we've discussed it, and we're all in agreement, guys, right? We're going to do it next Saturday night at 9 o'clock, right?
That's the current plan.
All right. So next Saturday, we're going to finish up the second half of the catalog. The first half we're going to do today includes the first 5 albums and the EPs. So we're going to start with The Morning Never Came, and we'll end with the Emerald Forest and the Blackbird. And man, holy shit, what an absolute joy it's been to listen to these albums. I just love this band. I love these albums, especially these first 5 are amazing, one of which I didn't really even ever listen to before, and it's kind of blown me out of the water. We will do our ranking at the end of episode 2, so if you were looking for that won't be until episode 2. But yeah, guys, so good to have you here, Rick. It's been I haven't seen you in a month, man. We haven't done any shows.
Nope.
Last time you saw me, I was sweating like a leper at the night show down in Philly.
Been a little minute, man. What are you all drinking now?
I'm just drinking a glass of wine. I should be drinking.
I found this thing that might be good for this theme. It's a Founders.
Oh yeah.
Mortal Bloom.
Ah, there you go. Mortal Bloom. It should be Mortal Gloom.
It's citrusy. It's a little 8%er. Should do fine.
We'll try this with the guys. We'll try this with the guys up on the thing here. I don't know. Yeah, how you like that, guys? That bother you or no?
No, this is good. I went with something dark and heavy for the night.
Ooh, yeah.
It's
because we're dark and heavy tonight.
Return of the Highlander.
It's I feel like Jake always out heavies us when it comes to these.
All right.
Bourbon barrel aged Scotch ale.
What's up, Kelty? We got Wade in here. Hey, what's up, Wade? We got Tim, my buddy Tim. Been a while, Tim. We got the beer metal snob, or metal and beer snob. I always get that backwards. Logan's here. Cool. So I guess we get started here with a little bit of a rundown of the band, and then we'll get into how we got into this band, how and when we got into this band. Let me do this real fast, like here. Give Give me 1 second here. All right, got too many windows open. Okay, so we're gonna talk about Swallow the Sun tonight. The origin is from we're gonna be able to pronounce that. Jyväskylä, Finland. I don't know. Jyväskylä. Who knows? Swallow the Sun is a Finnish death doom band founded in 2000 by Juha Raivio. Probably said that wrong. Raivio, I think it is. Their death doom style emphasizes melody and atmosphere and occasionally steps into the gothic and black metal territory. They have released 9 studio albums, one of which is a triple album and 1 EP, 1 demo, and 7 singles. Swallow the Sun was formed 2000. He was joined by Pasi Passanen. Both had played together in Plutonium Orange. They rehearsed a couple of songs, one of them being Through Her Silvery Body, which would end up on the first demo, Out of This Gloomy Light, which I did not listen to. Have anybody listened to that one, Out of the Gloomy Light? Is that the thing? I think that's the demo that's on the Plague of Butterflies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Okay, you got it. Okay, cool. You can talk about it because I think all the songs
are on the debut, so I don't know that it's worth
pretty much
really going over.
What is that? What is that you just showed? Is that a repress, of course, right?
This is the Plague of Butterflies repress.
Okay, repress. Okay.
It includes the
demo.
The demo.
Right, okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. Let's see. So in 2001, Marcus Jensen, guitar player, whom Raivio and Passanen already knew from the earlier bands, joined as a second guitarist. Mikko Katamaki from Funerus Nocturne as the singer. Then Alexi Munter, keyboards, and Matty Hookinen bass, also of Funerus Nocturne, joined the band, which I think, Rick, you want to talk about them a little bit at some point. In the spring of 2002, they started arranging song for the demo Out of the Gloomy Light, which was recorded in January 2003 at Sam's Workshop with Sammy Coco as they mixed the demo. A record deal with Firebox Records was signed a few months later after the recording of the demo, and Swallow the Sun entered the studio in late July 2003. During the following 3 weeks, they recorded their debut, The Morning Never Came. So we'll start there. I did not go into an exhaustive search of changes in personnel. The two main guys that are probably, I think, the most important are Juho and Mikko, of course. And there's been a new guitar player. I think there's been 2 new guitar players since the original guy. And I know there's a new drummer and a new keyboardist. I do believe the bass player has been the same, right?
I think so.
And
there's no new keyboardist.
You sure about?
I think Juha just took over the keyboards.
Oh, okay. Well, you mean recording? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they have a lot. I thought they have a live guy though, don't they?
They might just have a touring guy do it.
No, it's just a touring dude. Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, we'll get into that show, but I'll talk about it a little bit when I get into my experience with them. So, Rick, I'll let you go first. I'll blow you up here.
Yeah.
Where'd you come into the band at?
Few things to say.
Okay.
All right. One, what's up to everybody in the comments? Tim, I see Daryl here, which kind of makes me wonder, because Swallow the Sun is one of those bands that in the VC, I don't hear it get brought up all too much.
Right.
As good as they are, I'm sure a lot of you guys are fans, more or less, but I don't know where you all stand because I don't hear too much about it, which is another reason why I was kind of looking forward to this deep dive with you guys, which is cool. It's good to see you all here. I know who else? Wade, another one. Cool to see you, man. Carbon. So anyway, Swallow the Sun. So this is a band that I feel like it's very prominent in the this sort of death doom kind of scene when it comes to the Finnish guys. I know they're a little bit under the shadow of bands like Amorphous, which is like they're like the behemoth when it comes to bands from that kind of region.
Finland, yeah.
They kind of started out, and they were Abhorrence kind of at one point. Funeral was another band. When you talk about like the guys who kind of pioneered this kind of thing with, especially with these kind of bands when it came to that kind of thing. And then kind of Swallow Sun just seemed to have come out of nowhere, man. Like, I actually didn't get into them until sometime a little bit after New Moon came out. I was aware of the band.
Oh, wow, okay.
I never quite explored. I remember when Hope dropped and those other ones. And again, I was in a different time in my life, a different headspace. I was not experimenting with all these different things. There was a nice big gap, which is
You can
why
say you were listening to a lot of Biohazard. I know.
a lot of Biohazard, and it, Taylor Swift dropped, man. Like I ignored all metal. Just
Taylor Swift. Okay, all right. Didn't know you were going that way. Okay.
That may or may not have happened.
I was gonna say she's been around that long. I don't think she's been around that long. But go ahead.
Right around that one guy took the mic from her. You know who we're talking about. And it was she blew up. Yeah, I never thought I'd be bringing that up in the Swallow Something. But anyway, so this is a band. I think that when I said I got into this band a little late, I think it's also weird because this is a band that ticks all the boxes for me. Being the sad boy type, ticks that box. The Mind Dying Bride thing, you know what I mean? Like, which is like a band I've been into much longer. And, the Doom thing definitely speaks to me. And Mind Dying Bride does the mournful thing too. You know what I mean? And you do kind of the moany, croning kind of thing.
Especially the early Paradise Lost too, a little bit of the early Anathema, that
English guys.
Phil 3 thing.
And the thing is, like, I Saw the Sun are a band that I think also appeals because they have influences from the non-Finnish guys too. I hear Catatonia in there. I hear
Opeth.
Oh, definitely Opeth. Even Typo.
I hear a lot of Prague too.
Watch any interview with Miko. He's wearing like a Typo shirt.
Yep. Oh, big time Typo fan.
It's like
huge.
I don't know. Like I know when I was putting together this thumbnail, I was thinking like the emerald forest and the green, and like I'm thinking, what shade of Pantone color green? Like I can think of whatever the Typo one is.
Yeah, right.
Fits these guys.
Well, I mean, if you watched my interview, which I know you did, but you probably don't remember, but we talk a lot about that because one of the songs on the new album, which we're not going to talk about, Charcoal Sky, is an October Rust, or I'm sorry, what's it called? What's the November Dust is the
November
one song.
Dust. Yeah, that's very Typo.
He said it's a play on words for for November or October Rust.
Which we'll get into. I love how they have a little bit. It's like a little bit of cheeky humor. What Typo?
Oh yeah,
Typo is they do that cheeky humor.
Oh yeah, if you watch the interview with Juho, he's funny as fuck, man. He is,
man. And we were talking about it backstage. So all of a sudden, like the guys, they love Americans. You know what I mean? They love Texas barbecue. Like they love touring here. You know what I mean? But here's the crazy thing: I've never seen them live.
I have once.
Yeah, you have, all right.
Yeah, Jake just saw him,
and I would love to
see
them
way back.
Especially now, like considering like the volume of material that they have, this is a band that is the complete package. The lineup has stayed almost consistent. They've had a little bit of movement here and there, but the core of what makes the band what they are and their sound is they're very consistent. They do evolve, but generally the quality is even from the beginning has been top notch. Like they got everything you want, and that's why I said they speak to me because they got the heavy, they got the melodic. You know what I mean? They can go goth, they can go funeral. You know what I mean? Like they fucking do everything. Like it's like why wouldn't you like this band? But
when did you come into them again? New Moon.
A little bit after New Moon came out, and that was when I was going through some you understand the hurdles.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing I don't want to make this about my struggles or whatever, but everybody goes through struggles. Jake has personally gone through some things. Jeff, you're going through some things. We're all going through some shit. There's some stuff going on with the Bits Band's material that I think that really resonates with us.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
And when I was listening to some of these songs, these melodic leads and all this shit, I'm like, it was just bringing out all these emotions. You know what I mean?
Heart-wrenching, man, at times. I was in tears a couple of times listening to this stuff, dude.
I also want to bring up an important point. Like, I think in this sort of culture, like in this sort of society, and especially within the metal VC, like in a lot of ways, I don't know, like I think that there's a sort of element where people say if you happen to show emotion or be emotional, you must be a sissy or some kind of pussy, right? Like I think that as I get older, I'm starting to realize fucking being able to wear your emotions on your sleeve is actually a fucking strength.
Absolutely, man.
I'm starting to realize how much more avoidant people really are with this shit.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like this all this stoicism or whatever. It's fucking people. A lot of people are just hiding behind a lot of shit they don't want to present to the world because they're fucking afraid. So all of a sudden, just puts it all out there, man. They don't give a shit.
Yeah, this the Insomnium comparisons are really apt at this point, and you can also kind of throw Shape of Despair in there a little bit too. Although I think that Shape of Despair is a lot more longer winded, and that's saying something because Swallow the Sun is very long winded at times.
Somewhat more funeral. Like you could
Yeah.
even say like early Ghost Brigade, even though they went more post metal like later on. They're not around anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But Insomnium also does. They had more like melodic death leanings too. You know what I mean? Then they did more. You know what I mean? Like the doom side. You know what I mean?
And it's weird. Insomnium's a band I don't really know that well. I
They're
probably
really
need
good,
to,
man. I feel
probably
like
need to get on that. Yeah, yeah. Jake, how about you? What you got on this? Where did you come in?
So I came in 2016. So actually, really early as far as my journey into more extreme metal. I was already into melodic death metal, and that's what led me to these guys. Is they were touring with Dark Tranquility, and this was when I had just barely started going to like real metal concerts because I've realized I could go out and go to shows without anybody with me because I didn't really know anybody that was into the same kind of music.
Right.
So yeah, Swallow the Sun was touring with Dark Tranquility, and they came through here in November 2016. So I checked them out, seeing them on the bill, and honestly, my first impression was, holy shit, I think these guys are too heavy for me with Miko's vocals and just the heavy doominess. It was a bit of a shock to me, coming from just melodic death metal and more
Wow, really? Okay.
more metal, mainstream metal type stuff and hard rock type stuff. So I kept trying because I knew they were going to be on the show. I kept trying, and closer it got to the show, I was slowly getting more and more okay with them. I still wasn't like hardcore into them, but I was like, all right, I can, I'll dig these guys live. And yeah, it was a super cool show. I ended up front row right in front of actually they called him on the internet back then, he was known as the angry keyboardist, Alexei Monte.
Yeah, I remember that guy.
You see the YouTube videos and he's just got this serious, just pissed off look on his face the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
It was
I remember it.
a bit of a meme going around. So I ended up right in front of him, and it was super cool show. Really, really dug their set.
What was your first album you got?
So the first album I probably picked up was probably Songs from the North. But at that time, I wasn't quite yet hadn't really gone back into collecting. So at that point that I was first getting into them, it was just purely through streaming. So I wasn't even, really, at that point, I wasn't an album listener. I just go throw it on the band on Spotify and listen to the tracks on shuffle.
Okay, gotcha.
That's kind of how I got into them. And since then, I've seen them 2 more times. I saw them on the last U.S. tour for Children of Bodom. Actually left those guys early. That's not this show, but and then I saw them early this year.
In February, yeah,
in February. But yeah, that first show, it was actually the night before Thanksgiving, and I had to drive to and from in a snowstorm.
Oh yeah, that kind of works.
Over an hour drive each way, in normal conditions. So it was like,
wow,
it's pretty nuts. And the other interesting thing about that show is the first 2 bands on the bill were like more modern thrash bands, just totally didn't fit with the 2. I think one of them was like Enforcer.
Yeah, it was that, and then the other one was that not Have a Crew, but what are they called? Shit.
Yeah, it was like just thrash.
Harry Carey for the Sky.
No. Oh yeah, for this year. No, for
you meant the other one.
The first time I saw him, that was too like thrash bands.
Oh, weird. That's very weird.
Yeah, and then this one, it was like they were with like more black metal bands.
Yeah, it was
Post-Black,
Ghost Bath and
Ghost Bath and Harakiri for the Sky.
Yeah.
Which was
Yeah, and I overslept. I woke up at 9:30. I was like, fuck, man, if I really hurry, I could maybe catch the last half of their set. And I'm like, nah, better not. But all right, so my trip into them was thanks to my buddy John Comiskey over at Metalheads Podcast. He sent me a CDR of Hope. And then he sent me Ghost of Loss and The Morning Never Came. And I can't remember. I think I listened to Hope first. And I'm 99% sure that that once I heard The Justice is Suffering, and I was like, man, that sounds like Jonas Rensky. It is. But I'm like, fuck, this sounds like kind of like Catatonia, sort of, but a little different from that. And you're going to hear that again at various points here. But once I heard The Justice is Suffering and Don't Fall Asleep, I was like, oh, I'm all in on this band. So, but I didn't buy this album, and I still don't own this album, oddly. This and Blackbird are the two that I do not own yet. I own everything else, but I don't own those. And I ordered Hope about a week ago, and the guy sat on it on Discogs, and here like 2 days ago, I'm like, dude, I needed that thing for this, this. He's like, well, I only send out on Mondays, and you ordered on a Saturday. I'm like, go fuck off, man. Give me my money back. So, and then I went to get it from freaking Amazon. I know the evil empire, but I needed it fast. And here they were getting it from a third-party seller, and I don't know why, but all the Swallow the Sun shit, even their CDs are expensive. All their CDs are like $20 a pop. So I'm not sure what's up there. I guess they're short printed. I don't think they're out of print, but I just have had trouble locating this stuff. But long story short, John gave me Hope. I totally dug it. But my first actual purchase by them was the EP Plague of Butterflies, which we are going to talk about. And then I actually saw them opening for Catatonia on the New Moon cycle. So whatever year that is, I'll have to look. Is that 2009, 8, 10? I guess it was 2010. I think it was 2010. I saw them open for Cat in Baltimore at the old Sonar Club, which is gone now. And the other band that was with them was Orphan Land, and Orphan Land were doing that album, Mabul. And that was a killer show. And I actually got to meet Juho there after the show. I met Juho and I met the angry keyboard guy. And the really tall guitar player who's not with him anymore, the bald-headed dude. He left, I think, after New Moon maybe, or maybe right before. No, he was with them for that. So might have been that album that he left. But I've never seen him since, weirdly. And I know they've been over here a couple times. It hasn't worked out that I've known about the show in time, and I've kind of missed it. Yes, we're all swallowers, Nick, and I know for a fact you're a swallower, but we won't get into that. So, but yeah, so that's my story on them. And as Jake and I were talking about the Swallow the Sun show here in February. It was in February here. Was it in March for you, or the end of February, or do you remember? No, it might have been early February.
It was earlier than yours.
Yeah.
So it was...
That's right, because you're like, don't miss these guys. You got to go. And here I knew they were coming that day, and it was the day or a day or two after I went to see Alcest by myself. I went to see Alcest with Rick and Serge, and then the next night I went to see them in Baltimore, and I didn't go to sleep till I don't know. It was a crazy night with my sleep weirdness, and I ended up setting my alarm for AM instead of PM, and I didn't wake up in time, and I missed going to the show this year. So, which bummed me out because I had talked to Juho about maybe taking him out record shopping, like coming down early and taking him over to Fells Point, and we had talked about it, and then I fucking fell asleep and didn't make the show. So there you
go. Here's a little factoid. So the first U.S. tour they did was with Catatonia, Scar Symmetry, and Insomnium way back in 2007.
Yeah, 07.
That was the whole, right?
Yeah, that would have been a great show.
That was probably when Catatonia was still playing their older material, which fucking missed out on, man. Like,
Catatonia did. They were out for Night Is the New Day, so they were kind of more into their new stuff. But they did a lot of stuff from Fair Deal on up. I don't think they did anything prior to that. I'd have to look the set list up, but they weren't doing that. But Catatonia will come up at various points tonight, I'm sure. So I guess we ready to jump into it, or what? Oh, you got your cat shirt on. Nice. Jake's got the Swallow the Sun on. Yeah. Like I said, I pulled out the Gehenna.
You can't wear the band shirt of the band you're going to talk about, man.
You're not supposed to, I know. But that's all right. Actually, funny enough, I did order a killer The Morning Never Came shirt that is probably going to be here tomorrow, of course. It missed me by a day. So, oh well.
I think I've looked at that same shirt.
Have you?
Yep.
It's the cover with the moon on the back with the it's so cool.
I just want to know too, like Nick says, Thralls Metal, what's up, Nick? Saw Amorphous back in 2018, right? Big point of influence. And these are the bands still going strong today. Like Amorphous putting out a new album this year.
It hasn't come out yet.
Has to come out. They will.
Comes out in August.
Already put out theirs.
Yeah.
Got mixed feelings about that one, which I'm not going to get into.
Mixed feelings on the new Amorphous?
Catatonia.
New Catatonia.
I love the band in general. Let's just say that.
I'll just say it. The new Catatonia kind of sucks. I'm not into it at all. Just doesn't do anything for me. Sorry, just doesn't.
Souls.
And I will say the advanced stuff I've heard of Amorphous, they're very consistent. They sound like Amorphous from every other album.
By the way, if you guys claim to love Murder Day, name 3 songs. Just saying.
What's that?
If you love Brave Murder Day, name 3 songs.
Brave, Murder and Day, and Rain Room.
Okay, so you're a fan.
And Rain Room, yeah. All right, so let's get into this. Let's get into these albums here. The first album, who wants to show off their cool shit? Rick, do you have the first album in? Because I actually have it in CD. What do you have it in?
Actually, right before we get into the first album, I wanted to bring up some of the stuff that the band's been involved with. A band I really thought that Miko was in, Kula Malasco. You guys know, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I think that's how it goes. Jake, you probably know who I'm talking about. It's kind of, they're like a death doom band. Not too far from Swallow the Sun, maybe not as mournful, but they split not too long ago, but they do all their stuff in Finnish. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so that's one of the Miko's bands. And just to get the reason I'm saying all this is because this is a band that put out such a fucking amazing debut album, and bands don't just do that. Right? They got to come from somewhere. It's got to come from something, right? Like, and they were involved with other things.
What's the name of the band again, dude?
It's I sent it to you. It's in the. I don't know if you pulled up the images. I sent.
Yeah, I'll pull it up here. I just want to make sure I got the right one.
It starts with a K. It's Finnish.
Is that it?
That's one of their albums.
Okay.
And then I think I sent you the one that's like their last album.
This one here.
That right there. It's so if anybody who doesn't know, should definitely check them out. Good shit. Miko's also in Barren Earth.
Wait, Barren? He's in Barren Earth?
He was.
So he was in there. He was in there with Opu from Amorphous.
Beliefs.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And he actually sings on that Octoploid album that came out last year. He sings most of the songs. Him and Tommy Utzon, of course, from Amorphous. So a lot of incestuous shit going on there.
They also have. This is why the band's so versatile. They do all this stuff, right? Even that Funeris Nocturnum band, which was before Swallow the Sun, which Maddie also, which is the bassist, along with Miko, were in that band. And
I'll play that later at the end.
Very black metal. I mean, it's.
Miko's done a lot of. He's in a few very black metal bands.
Right. Which, if you ask me, that's where he excels fantastically. We're gonna talk about probably more in part 2 than part 1, but I do have one. Well, I'll just say it now. I think Miko is a massive strength for the band, and at times he's kind of the weak link. We'll talk more about that in the second half, The second half. I'll get into it and why I think that's true.
And the reason why I brought this up is because I wanted to highlight the versatility. Like
Yeah.
so this is where his screeching shit comes out. Like it's that black metal side.
Oh, it's killer.
You know what I mean? Like he can do the deep and stuff too, and along with the clean vocal. It's like, what the fuck, man? I had to keep looking if there was a different vocalist. Like it's the same guy.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Yeah.
The one I want to make one really big point though about this band right off from the outset. And one of the reasons that we decided to split this in half was because, again, it's 9 albums, but one of them's a triple, and then there's the EP. So it's 11 albums, technically speaking, and 1 EP. This shit is very immersive. It's super dense. The compositions are incredibly deep and involved, and they're multi-layered, and there's a lot going on in every song. From multiple guitar layers to multiple synth layers to some samples at times, multiple vocal layers from harmonies to growls to cleans to, there's just a lot going on. And I would honestly say, Rick, you brought up their black, their doom, their death, they're all those things. But they're extremely progressive. This is an extremely progressive band. If you really dig down into what they're doing from a songwriting standpoint, and 97% of all the songs are written by Juha, and that's pretty stunning when you think about how much he's written since 2000, the last 25 years. I mean, he's kind of like, if I had to sort of like pinpoint another band that is very similar, he's kind of like the Michael Ockerfeldt of this band. Ockerfeldt writes pretty much all the Opeth material. It's his vision, and Mikko is the way that he envisions the singing part of it.
It is, and I'm glad you said that, because that also highlights a strength of the band. Is they're like this family where you don't like, you watch the interviews. There's no egos here. You know what I mean? Like everybody is very content with their positions and how they perform, and everybody just kills it fucking live. We're just watching these performances, and it just highlights Juha's just absolute talent, be able to just write shit.
He's stunning. All these
different instrumentations.
He's stunning, man.
Very stunning.
He plays most of the keyboards. He played a lot of the keyboards on the demos. Does a lot of the drum programming for the demos. So it's just pretty stunning what they're able to do and the amount of material this guy's put out. And the point I was trying to get at ultimately was almost every one of their albums is 52 minutes or longer. I think the most recent one is the shortest one. Am I right? Other than the EP, which is 34 minutes.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Which is appropriate for Death Doom.
Yeah, like the first album is 62 minutes. The second album is 65 minutes. The third album is 60 minutes, in that range, 59 minutes. It's just a lot to take in. And when we undertook this, I mean, we've known about this for about 2 weeks, but Rick's got a job, Jake's got a job. They've got other demands. I'm the only guy that can lay around, but I've got a lot of health issues that are really, really kind of kicking my ass lately. And so when we finally discussed it, it was kind of like, man, let's just split this up, because there's just, we'll be on here for 5 or 6 hours, and we're already at a half an hour, so we should probably jump in. So let's get into this first album. And who's got an album they want to show? Rick, do you have it on vinyl or just CD or no?
I got a mix, but I pulled mostly the vinyl because
cool.
It's bigger. It's 12 inches.
It is bigger.
We're talking about swallowing an inch.
You know what they say? Bigger is better. Oh God.
Yeah, Morning Never Came, man. Like, so they put out the Out of This Gloomy, lights, a demo.
We'll let you go first.
And
before you jump into it, real quick though.
Yeah.
I like to do my little my thing. This was released November 2003, recorded between July and August of 2003. Sam's Workshop. The standard version is 56 minutes 27 seconds. The limited edition version, double vinyl. Is that the one you've got?
It's double, yeah.
Yeah. That has a bonus track on it of a cover of Candlemass's Solitude. That version is 62 minutes and 5 seconds. Came out on Firebox and Olympic, and yeah, go for it.
All right. Okay. So yeah, mostly vinyl. I'm gonna annoy Nick here, right, Nick, because he's a CD guy. But here it is. Here you go. All the vinyl glory. Anyway, Alone Records. This originally came out of Firebox Records.
Yep.
They're no longer around. There was a Finnish label.
Yep.
Even though they incorporated in 2000, they didn't release their debut until 2003. And this right here, I mean, by the time this came out, I was already into a lot of other bands, like we were talking about the English bands and whatnot. And but for some reason, this one evaded me. Maybe because it wasn't as readily available here, or whatever reason or another. It's
yeah.
Like, the internet was not like what it is now.
No, it was definitely not. Nope.
Distribution. So that could have been it. So strong debut. And when you listen to that demo, that fucking demo, it's pretty good. The production for a demo. You know what I mean? So they've been honing these songs. You know what I mean? So, and a lot of those songs in that demo, or you could find them here.
Right.
And just look at that, man. Like, there is no other interpretation when you look at this cover, that there's this, some
dude
brooding shit.
I think you guys both agree, man. That cover is so fucking perfect for what you hear inside. It's so perfect. It is just exactly what you want to hear.
I remember, was it Through Her Silvery Body, which was like the first track here. There's a video to that. And I gotta say, when you talk about a band who does quality, their video production, it's all fucking good. You know what I mean? Like, they don't do this basement stuff. You know what I mean? Like, they them or the label, whoever, they put real money into their stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's between the songwriting, the production of their imagery, and everything else. They don't have quite their iconic logo quite yet here. You don't see it until a little later. Not like that it really needs it. I mean, this pretty much does the job. But we got, let's see, 3, 6, 8 tracks, and we're looking at pull my notes here. Yeah, 1 hour and 3 minutes of material here, and this is right from the get-go. I mean, you're not going to get an album where this is completely weird and different from anything they ever done. It's pretty much Swallow the Sun has all these different influences, but they also have their own sound. There's a Swallow the Sun sound, based on what they do. They're when you hear it, you know it's them. Fucking killer opener, that really iconic melody that comes into play. Deadly Nightshade. Here's when you really get the heavy. They have a thing where they really groove. There's a bit of chunkiness to their sound, so they have this ability to do that, and you get that right away from this. So there's the melodic parts. Miko screeching voices. He does a lot more of the screeching stuff with a lot of his earlier recordings. But this is what I consider the first era of the band, and of course, but here you get a lot more brooding here than a lot of the other stuff you get later, which is more melodic and folky and whatnot. But here it's just fucking focused on heavy, dark. Another good track, Out of the Gloomy Light. Let me see. This is another one where, really good ethereal keyboards. Just a really good just aura in the atmosphere. Really good ringing guitar that's happening. And then to begin a series of songs that they do, which is called The Horror. Right away, it begins with part 1, and really cool. Around the 2-minute mark, there's this heavy, cool transitions, very, very catchy. Let me see. Silence of the Womb is another one. Cool, sudden stop. There's a really cool piano solo kind of thing that they do, which I think it just makes you wonder, man. It's you this is not a band that's very monotonous. You know what I mean? Juha takes the time to write stuff that's trying to keep your attention. You know what I mean? This is why when people listen to all these Death Doom bands, you know what I mean, and who's just only brooding all throughout, it can kind of really blend in together. I think he makes an effort to really put some starts and stops in moments, considering that the songs are longer. They kind of just keep you interested kind of the whole time. Maddie's bass, really, really good work here. I love the tone, adds to that heaviness. The production is clear. There's nothing really murky about this. And like right from the beginning, they were out to just really take on the world. I still don't think they've gotten their due. It took them years to finally catch up, including myself, before I finally discovered them. Hold This Woe, another really one with a really good piano melody. Under the Waves, more fucking brooding vocals. Under the Waves, I think it's one of the darker songs here. Really good, really heavy. And then ending it with the title track, Morning Never Came. They know how to end an album.
Oh,
it ends on this really nice sort of melodic notes, just kind of getting you ready. And I think they needed to do that because once you jump into the next album, there's a certain feel that I think it really propels you into moving into that. Whether they were planning on writing for that kind of material or not at the time, I don't know, but I think it fits really, really well. I think when you think of the early 2000s and melodic death doom albums, this is one of the really more iconic ones. I think that people who are getting to this style, this is a must own. You know what I mean? I just wish it was more readily available. Well, another thing I wanted to mention too is the later pressings had Solitude. So they do have a Candlemass.
Is that not on yours?
This was not on this one.
Then you have one. You have an OG, dude. Yeah.
I don't think it's an OG.
Well, the repress was with Solitude, I believe.
Solitude, yeah, which I think appeared later. Which is Forgive Her. I think it was one of those singles. Which
later represses had the Solitude.
Oh, is that what? Yeah. Okay. Later repress.
Probably like a mid-period repress.
Okay.
Really,
so I think it's been repressed twice.
What's the OG go for? Have you ever looked it up? Couple hundred.
I kicked myself because a record shop in town had it for. I mean, it wasn't cheap. It was going price. It was 100, like 120. It was either 100 or 125, and I considered it a few times picking it up.
And then you bailed.
Last time I was there, I didn't see it there. I was like, I should have grabbed that. Instead, I bought 5 good albums, but not, will you take 5 good albums or one? The Morning Never Came.
Funny though, man. It's like finding the copies of this shit's pain in the ass. Apparently, I've had to do that for years. Like,
I think I've been bitching to Jeff about this fact since we, planned this. I'm like, God, I wish I would repress those first 3 albums. Those first 3 albums need a vinyl repress because I cannot. I almost pulled the trigger on one of them.
Well, I'm looking here. Let me see something. Is that not the first? The first pressing.
Overseas, they go for a little bit cheaper, but to find in the U.S.,
it looks like the first pressing was a vinyl. That was Imperium Productions 05, and it's got an etched side, and that is, believe it or not, there's one on here for $83, but when you throw in the shipping, it's from New Zealand. It's 137.
That's the problem. Yeah. Like, I know that Svarts took over a lot of that kind of stuff, and with the repressings. I don't know how that works with the rights regarding their entire catalog. But
I mean, there's one here in the U.S. for Jake for 106. I might actually just buy that.
Only 106.
No, it's okay. I couldn't afford it right now.
I can't either. To be realistic, I can't either. Just to be smart,
I can't justify spending $100 on an album right now.
That is, I mean, I've never spent that much. I told you, I almost spent $80 on a Tribulation Formulas of Death, and I didn't quite have enough, and I offered the guy $75, and he said, "No, I'll just wait for the $5."
Yeah.
No, check it out. It was an OG. No, it was an OG. But he's like, "I'll just wait. It's been up for 2 years." I said, "I'll get back to you next week when I get paid," meaning this Wednesday. That motherfucker jumped it to $100. I said, "Guess what? You can suck my dick. I'm not buying your fucking album now."
I don't know if he's a swallower.
He might be a swallower. I don't know. Oh, hey, everybody.
Hey, what's up, Ryan?
Ryan's here.
Back from the Scorpions.
Here. By the way. He's just letting us know he's here, so we're all good. We're all good to go. All right.
We love you, Ryan.
We love you, Ryan. You're a goofball, but we love you. So go ahead, Jake. You're up.
Yeah. So The Morning Never Came. The notes I wrote down is, it's dark, depressing, melancholic, and haunting. Like most of their work.
All the things we're going to say about every one of their albums.
Yep. Yeah. I put it's possibly their heaviest album. You know,
I
when
don't know about that.
you take into consideration the production and everything on it, I think that's, you know, the perfect production for the album.
Amazing.
Guitar melodies throughout the album, just beautiful. Got those signature, you know, crushing chugs throughout the album. I think it's a masterpiece of an album. Track highlights, I put every track at first, and then I, you know, went through every track. Through Here, Silvery Body, it's got that that melody, that signature melody. That guitar tone that they put on that is, I love it.
Stunning.
Yeah. And then Deadly Nightshade, it's got a really, really cool guitar solo in it. Yeah. Which, you know, guitar solos pop up here and there throughout the catalog, but not nearly on every song. It's like maybe 2-3 times an album you'll be like, oh shit, a guitar solo.
Yeah, they're not a wank band. They're more about atmosphere and building soundscapes.
Their solos are not, they're not wanky solos.
Nope.
You don't go, oh my god, this is so technical, and how are they playing this? It's like, oh, that's really cool, and it fits the music really well. But then Out of the Gloomy Light, I just wrote down it's a fantastic song, but it's overshadowed quite a bit by a lot of the other songs on there. Not to discredit, it's fantastic. Horror Part 1, Swallow. Creepy, sinister atmosphere to it, and I put possibly the best vocal performance of the album.
Oh, it's so good.
So good. Silence of the Womb, that like atmospheric building bridge with the spoken word and the baby crying, and it leads into the crushing finale of the song. Such a cool piece of music there. Hold This Woe, Rick mentioned it's got that beautiful piano melody throughout it, that keyboard melody. Love that. Under the Waves, it's got that cool string intro, and then it just goes into the, you know, classic Swallow the Sun, just crushing heaviness. The one problem, you know, small issue I have on the entire album is that wave crashing outro on the song. It's just, you know, way too long. I think it goes for like 1.5 minutes. It's like you could have done that for, you know, 10-20 seconds tops. And
I like it though. I actually, unlike you, I like it. Whereas, to be honest with you, the baby crying on the Womb song gets on my fucking nerves. I hate crying babies. and in the ER room the other night, everything's all quiet except for there was one dude.
I love the bass work over that though, man. It's
cool,
yeah.
but
I just think it fits that song so well. Like
it does.
The overall message of the song, that baby crying.
It does. I agree, but I had babies. I had 2 babies, right? And and one of them had colic for 6 months, and I thought I was going to have to either kill her or kill myself. Thankfully, I didn't do either, but I thought I was going to have to. Babies crying drives me out of my fucking mind. You just went through that, so I'm sure you know what I'm talking about to some extent. But I'm sitting in the ER room, the waiting room, right? And they're moving me through pretty quick, but then they put me back till they got a room. And I got 2 issues. One, there's a dude over there going, and he's making the loudest motherfucking hiccups I've ever heard in my life. I'm feeling like shit. I'm like, dude, holy fuck. And then I see him walking towards me, and all I hear in my head is, oh no, please go somewhere else. And it's a couple with a baby, and they sit right down next to me, and the baby starts screaming, and I'm like, fuck. I just was like, please. And right then they came and got me for a room. So I only had to put up with it for about 20 minutes. So there we go. We're opposites. I kind of like the long wave sequence, but I get what you're saying.
I don't hate it, but it's the one thing on the album where I'm like, okay, it could have been shortened.
I get it.
It would have made the album.
I kind of agree. I just mention it, you know, but I don't mind it so much, but I know why you say that.
Like the length of the entire album, you know, going back to back with the discography, I'm like, okay, they could have, cut this out, and I could have got through this faster.
We shot 3 minutes, made it a good solid just 1 hour instead of an hour and 3 minutes.
But
Right.
yeah, the next song, the Morning Never Came.
Oh my God.
But it's a great closing track. For me, it's similar to Out of the Gloomy Light in that it's a fantastic song, but I kind of overshadow it with the rest of the albums. I kind of underrate it as far as when I look at the the tracks on the album, I'm like, oh yeah, that song rules, that song rules. Then I was listening, I'm like, this, like I said, every track on this rules. So that's just one that I kind of gets overshadowed to me. Great track. And then Solitude, I just put, it's a great cover song. Just a fantastic cover song. I think they did it really well. You're muted, Jeff.
As I mentioned, this was kind of the album back in October when I was heading up to Surges to go to see Opeth. I threw this in and I was like, oh my God, why don't I listen to this like every fucking day, man? Like why haven't I pulled this off the shelf? Why haven't I pulled any Swallow the Sun off the shelf lately? And I have to say, man, this album is just, you said it, Jake. It's a fucking almost a flawless album. The production is amazing. The guitars, there's just walls of guitars, but they're, Juho is so good at creating these atmospheres with effects-laden clean guitars, and then the crushingly heavy guitars come in. And this album sort of sets that template. The album's an hour long. Every song, for the most part, most of the songs are between 7 and 9.5 minutes, somewhere in that range. You get right off the bat, they start with, Through Her Silvery Body, and you get that dun, 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 on the piano, and it's just this haunting. You're going to hear me say it a million times, so start drinking now because you'll be fucked up by the third album. But ethereal, man. Just everything about this band is ethereal. It's otherworldly sounding. And this particular track sets that mold. They start out with that. It's all a lot, this album is particularly mostly mid-tempo. They don't lean super hard into the black metal thing, which they do in a couple of songs and albums coming up. But this one, not so much overall. I mean, there's bits and pieces, but it's not, you don't hear a lot of blast beats on this album. It's pretty mid-tempo. And just heavy crushing riffs on Through Her Silvery Body. Again, that haunted piano opening, the guitar harmony melody is so evocative of sorrow, man. It just sounds like what sorrow, those melodies sound what you envision in your brain sorrow would look like if you could personify it with musical notes. Just a miserably beautiful song. Miko is mostly harsh vocals on this album, not entirely, but mostly. This song's all harsh. Just absolutely fucking incredible, man. Deadly Nightshade, quite a bit more up tempo. You get those octave chords. He does that quite a bit throughout all of their history. That's kind of an Opeth thing, using the octave thing. It gives it a lot of substance and depth instead of doing just E5, bar chords, like power chords. Which he doesn't do a lot of. He does do some drop tunings too, which we'll talk about. This song is quite a bit more orchestrated with a lot of synths up front. And again, this is mostly all harsh vocals on Deadly Nightshade. Great song. Out of This Gloomy Light. God damn. You're going to hear me say this like 18 fucking times tonight, but love this track. Possibly my favorite. You're going to hear me say possibly my favorite, like, I don't know, 400 times tonight, something like that. This song really has a cool Cure Disintegration vibe to it. It's got those swirling sort of modulated clean guitar figures that are going, clean guitar arpeggiations that are going on. That clean riff, that again, it's a slower tempo song, but that floating clean riff that drives the song is really prominent in this, and it's so good, man. One of the problems I really had in doing this deep dive that really bugs the shit out of me is, as you guys know, if you watch me a lot, and I'm talking to the audience more than I'm talking to you guys because you know how exhaustive I can be to be around doing these things.
I don't believe it.
Fuck off. Is that I like to draw comparisons to other bands or other singers or other guitar players, whatever. The problem with Swallow the Sun is all of their songs are so long, generally speaking, from 6 to 10 minutes to 11 minutes to 15 minutes to even 34 minutes, that I start getting lost in the sauce trying to go, oh, that song sounds a little bit like X, or that song sounds a little bit like Y. And I had a lot of trouble with that because I remember certain melodies and I go, wait, is that this song or is that this song? And I had a lot of problem with that. It was just very weird how I struggle with that. And some of it's what's going on with my brain, but I just struggle with that a lot. But man, Out of This Gloomy Light, man, the whispered vocals in the middle, like it's about 2/3 of the way through, you've got that whispered vocals section and all those lush synthesizers, and then the just, this is a riff salad, this song. It's just full of amazing melodies and riffs throughout. And you can also hear, and we'll talk about this later in another album, one of Juho's favorite guitar players is also one of my favorite guitar players, and that would be Steve Rothery of Marillion. And if you watch the interview I did with him, which I need to post in there, I forgot to put that in the description, we both nerded out about Marillion and Steve Rothery because Steve Rothery just has this buttery, beautiful, melodic lead tone, and you can hear that in this song, man. It's you can hear
a contribution at some point, maybe.
He does, and coming up on New Moon, he contributes to a song, yes. And then you get to what I guess is probably the hit song on the album, if there is a hit, which is Swallow, which is the first part of the horror quadrilogy, not a trilogy. It's 4 parts. And this is the first one called Swallow. Rick, do you want to insert a joke there?
Still trying to make Swallow happen, man. People do pushback. Yeah. Damn it.
Make swallowing okay again. Let you know. What's that statement that the fucking MAGAs say? There's a MAGA. Anyways, make swallowing okay. I'm all for it. But yeah, Out of This Gloomy Light, so incredible. Swallow, man, what a fucking heavy as fuck song, man. The staccato riffage in the beginning sections, and then you get Miko's screams are so good. I would go so far as to say Miko is one of the best death and black metal singers out there today. I do have some issues with that. I do have some issues with his cleans. Not so much in the albums we're going to talk about tonight, but in the coming albums, I have some issues. We'll get into it in the second part probably. But I fucking think this guy's vocals on Death and Black, almost unmatched, man. Like back in the day, to me, Michael Ockerfeldt was the king of the death metal vocals. This guy can pull those death metal vocals off now, no problem at all. Whereas Mike struggled with that for quite a while. And I still don't think he's the same old Mike. He's better close than he was, but that's a whole different
Does Miko smoke? I never even looked that up.
I don't know if he does smoke. He sounds like it.
Never seen him in an interview smoke.
I haven't either, so I don't think so.
His growls are so just dark and
they're guttural, but they're not like
beastly.
They're beastly, and they're fucking. When he goes into a full on growl, it catches you off guard. You're like, whoa, holy fuck, man!
Yeah, that
was unreal. Where did that come from? It's like Bowel, but they're not like fucking like these guys that when you hear them, they're like, you can understand what he's saying. You can always hear what he's saying. You can always hear the lyrics.
He enunciates.
You can understand it.
Yep, 100%. Silence of the Womb. This has some of the most epic chord changes through the song on this album. It's the first sign of clean vocals, by the way, that takes center stage. Has a really cool, weird spoken section with the crying baby that's very creepy but goes on a little too long for me. Yeah, I know based on the title it kind of works, and it does. But the chord sequences in this song are some of the best out there. Juho is a fucking insanely good guitar player, guys. Like, I am a decent guitar player, and most people that know me and have seen me play, I can play a little bit. So when I judge another guitar player and say they're fucking amazing, they're amazing. This guy is just stunning. And the way he writes and the way he intermixes chord sequences with arpeggiated sequences, the way he utilizes various effects, hard to surpass this guy in this genre. I think he's probably the best out there. He's kind of like, I know, Jake, you're not a big Opeth fan, but you're going to hear that name come up a bunch of times tonight. And I do very much think that Juho is kind of like the Michael Ockerfeldt of this band. He's the ringleader. He figures it all out in a way that's just kind of mind blowing, quite frankly. Hold This Woe leads with Miko clean for the first time on the chorus. It's a dreary but melodic track that has some juicy chordal work in it and some crushingly heavy verses. I dig this one a lot. I like the fade out. I think Rick, you mentioned it, and I think Jake, you talked about it. The fade out with the piano riff, man, it's just it's so haunting. And it's like haunting like the intro to Through Her Silvery Body. You can't forget it. But the problem is I keep thinking of Through Her Silvery Body right now, so I'm trying to remember it and I can't remember it. Rick, do you remember it?
What was that?
Rick's sleeping.
I'll respond to the comments.
The piano riff on Hold This Woe.
Oh yeah, what about it?
I'm trying to remember exactly how the riff goes. Do you remember it? It's not that. I want to say it because it's so good. Here it is. We'll cheat a little bit here.
It reminds me of Because the Night, man.
Here it is.
Wait, sounds like Patti Smith.
Listen.
The night.
Because the night belongs to lovers. Yeah, kinda. It's close. It's so beautiful, man.
Yeah, that's killer.
It's I think the one on Through Her Silvery Body is a little more memorable, but that is just such a high point of that song. Under the Waves, kind of gloomy, slowed down, mellow death, solid track, but it's probably my least favorite on this album overall of all the songs because everything before it, fucking mega bangers, man, or super mega bangers. And then I have to go this route, man. The Morning Never Comes. Oh my God, this song is fucking epic. And they have a habit of ending all their albums on epic tracks. They know how to do that right. And the intro is this long, mellow, arpeggiated guitar riff that is just sort of aqueous. You know, it sort of floats, which ties in with Under the Waves, which does have that long wave sequence at the end. But that little arpeggiated guitar riff in the beginning of The Morning Never Came is so good. And then the EBow comes in, which they use EBow quite a bit in this. That you know, where you got notes that sing and hang in the air. The chorus on this song is just fucking amazing. And then you get that breakdown at the bridge where you got all those really cool guitar things going on. I love this song. It's probably my favorite on the album, along with Out of This Gloomy Light. Those are my two those are my supernova banger tracks. And then pretty much everything else is a banger or a mega banger. They're just so good. Solitude, it's a great cover. I happen to be one of those guys that kind of hates cover songs because I never quite think any band ever does them up to snuff unless they do them completely weirdly different, like, say, Nevermore doing like The Sound of Silence where it doesn't even sound like the song. I like that more than I like somebody trying to cover it note for note and verbatim. But this is really well done. It's great. It fits in with the theme of the album very well. this is what I said here. I will admit it's kind of hard to pick out a definable earworm in Swallow the Sun albums because it's dense material and washes over you like waves drowning you. I love this album. It's a 9.5 out of 10 for me. My only negative is it's an hour long, and that makes it a bit hard to stay locked in for that long because my ADHD kicks in, and I had a lot of problems with that. And that's not something I had problems with in the past, but that's a more me thing now. But this album is, if you like death and you like doom and you like death doom and a little bit of funeral, not much funeral, but a little bit in there, you like melodic mellow death, this album it's an alpha predator, man. It's so goddamn good. So again, 9.5 out of 10. You have to wait till we do the wrap up at the end to find out where I place this in the thing. And real quick, Jake, this is the front of the shirt. Obviously, the album sleeve. This is the back. So it's probably the one you were looking at. Yeah, I went for it. I'll let you know if it's shitty or not. If they're shitty, I'll let you know.
I think they just didn't have it in my size.
Well, I got it from Amazon. I didn't get it from their website because it was way more expensive. I got it for $26.99. If it's a shitty knockoff, I'll let you know. But I don't think it is because they showed the inside of the shirt and it had Swallow the Sun on. So I think they maybe they're just unloading some from there. So, all right. So we got Ghost of Lost. We'll switch it up this time. Go to Jake first.
Okay.
And I'll let you go on this one. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to get some wine.
All right. Yay. Came out in 2005. I don't have all the, production details and whatnot that Jeff.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'll do that real quick. Came out August 24th, 2005. Recorded January through February 05. 65 minutes 59 seconds. It's even longer than the first album. Firebox Records again, and let's see where the producer notes are on here. I don't know why I didn't pull that up, but go ahead. Oh, producer on the first was Swallow the Sun. I think they might have produced this one as well.
Okay. So my thoughts on this one. I put it's a bit of a step down from the previous album, and it's possibly a little bit too long. It's got a bit more like I put it down as beauty. Like it's a little more of a beautiful album than The Morning Never Came. Lyrically, it does step up. I think they've improved with age, they've improved their lyric writing ability, and it's definitely more atmospheric, and there's a stronger presence of funeral doom on this album. Then as far as track highlights, I put The Giant, the opening track, massive track. That opening melody is just the chef's kiss. It's just got a great flow and build to the entire track. It's awesome track. Descending Winners, awesome track. It's just a classic Swallow the Sun track. Psychopath's Lair, the third track. That chuggy, stompy opening is awesome. It's got a great riff throughout the song and very creepy vibe to the song. Forgive Her, the second half of the song is brilliant. First half is no slouch, but when it picks up in the second half, it's a brilliant song. I put that it's for me this album is a bit front heavy. Couple other notes on it is Fragile, the track Fragile, track 5, is the first song that Swallow the Sun put out that was not written by Juha Raivio, however you say it. It was actually written by Alexi Munter. And then a huge theme throughout their catalog is Twin Peaks, the old TV show. I've never watched it, but I picked up on the references throughout their catalog. And Ghost of Laura Palmer is a Twin Peaks reference. But yeah, that's the notes I had on this one. Am I alone here now?
No, I'm here. Sorry. Yeah, one of the things I note about Juho is, he does some pretty cool stuff where he pulls titles for songs from movies. The Ship, which is the final track on here, is from the movie The Ship. There's a track on. Well, we'll circle back to this when we do the part 2, but there's a track on the Gloom album on Songs from the North called "The Clouds Prepare for Battle." That's a lyric line from Jacob's Ladder from Rush. Juho is a huge Rush fanatic too, so he pulls a lot of and Laura, like you said, the Ghost of Laura Palmer straight out of there. I'm sure there's a lot of other references we haven't even picked up on that are in there too. But yeah, he's a movie nerd. He's he's a junkie for that kind of stuff. We talked a lot about that in the interview, and again, I'm gonna put that over. I'll have to link that in my body of my of the description. But the interview with Juho was, sadly, it was one of my worst, and it was one of my best. He was fucking cool as shit.
Yeah, that's one of the few. I'm not a big interview guy, but it was Juha. I was like, I gotta see this because he's not. Before around that time he didn't do a lot of interviews.
Right.
So
right.
I was like, I'll check this out. And
the thing is, guys like him, you think they'd have every reason to be aloof and in over their heads, have a big ego. This guy is so fucking just so cool, and you can have a beer with him. It just, it's just
well,
like
when he brought up the part about the Vikings not wanting to fuck Finnish women, I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna get canceled right there. I'm fucked. I thought that was great, man. I'm like, that was awesome. But I mean, we just talked about so much stuff. The only problem with that interview was he froze a lot because his internet connection was kind of fucked up. But he's witty as hell. He's funny as fuck, and he and I got along great. So, I mean, I know that if I met him in person, we'd have a couple beers. That would be
like this, man.
Yeah, it'd be fucking great. So, all right. So, Jake, I jumped on at the end there, so I did hear you. And Rick's the guardian of the chat, so he's.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't just sitting in silence for a couple of minutes at the end. I'm like, nobody's saying anything. Said everything I've got.
I finished my Mortar Bloom. I'm going to move on to Sweet Baby James. James Taylor. Sweet Baby Jesus.
Rockabye, Sweet Baby Jesus.
Chocolate Peanut Butter Porter.
Oh, man.
It's about this one. So
I'm staying with Merlot. I'm staying with Merlot tonight. I'm not drinking anything.
Might be a little thick on this one, but I'm curious. Let's see.
All right. We're on to Ghosts of Loss.
Ghosts of Loss. All right. So, yeah, Jake already showed it, but, boob warning here.
No warning.
Booby warning.
Boobies.
You guys brought up the David Lynch thing. Rest in peace. Great loss. And Twin Peaks was a fucking awesome show. And I do see and hear some of the influences here. But within this chat, as you proclaim, the chat kind of keeper here, there is this thing where people like, let's point out Psychic Vacuum, Eric, who claims to live in a town of 600 people. Very
he does. I've seen it.
Low population, right? So people can disappear, and you can make people disappear. And so I don't know what the hold on justice is over there. But what I'm trying to say is there's this other sort of what do you call it, franchise called Silent Hill, right?
Yes, he's into that too. Yes.
All right. So I got those vibes here too.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's quite a bit of a haunting album. I'm glad it wasn't a "What Morning Never Came" Part 2. I'm glad they did this little switcheroo with this. There are, and I think with this particular album, it's when they're at their most gothic or dark metal, if you will. There's, it's still death doom. Don't get me wrong, with this, but they also experiment. They explore those kind of elements. There's, it's when you hear more atmosphere kind of being thrown in, and more of this sort of creepy fog kind of overlay.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Production. Not quite sure how to word it. I'm not a sound engineer. So Ghosts of Loss is another one which, I think if you're going to get into this band, I wouldn't say start here, as kind of a stamp on their entire sound. I kind of see this kind of an odd burden or catalog, more or less, despite the fact they still are more or less a consistent kind of band. Despite that, this came out what 2005, I believe, something like that. So 2 years, right? 2 years after the. So man, Jake, everything Jake said, I think more or less does apply. I agree. The Giant, it's a monster fucking opener. It's 11 plus something minutes. That right there captures what most of this album, what you're going to kind of expect. The first 3 tracks are just overall my favorite. It's a very strong first half.
Yes.
It's a very strong album for what it is. This is one that I did not explore until much later, probably like 2017, 2018, I think, when I first really it hit my ears. I didn't know what to think because my mind was wrapped in a bunch of other stuff at the time. So trying to figure out contextually what this fit with this album. Plus, Swallow the Sun was in a very different kind of paradigm in their sound at the time. So going back to revisit something like this was like, whoa. It was a whole different kind of vibe. The Giant, and then Descending fucking Winters, man. Again, it just reminds you we still fuck with heavy, man. We're still very fucking heavy and brooding as can be. But even though exploring, you hear Miko do other things with his vocals and trying different stuff with the melodies. Psychopath's Lair, again, My Dying Bride. You hear My Dying Bride kind of in this, which I know it's definitely a band of influence.
Yeah, for sure.
With
isn't Miko now the vocalist for My Dying Bride? At least
he is.
Yeah.
Live he is, but I suspect it might be more than that. I think what we got going on with MDB is the same thing we had going on with Catatonia. I think there's a fundamental. You know what happened with Catatonia with Anders. I think there's something going on with, because when I spoke to Andrew Cragen, I could tell something was going on, and I knew they weren't going to play. Like, I knew a whole month before MDB, or like 3 months before Maryland Death Fest. Yeah, 3 months before. Yep. I knew Agalok was taking over for MDB, and he's like, "Yeah, there's stuff going on, but I can't talk about it."
Quick tangent on the Catatonia thing. I just find it funny how everybody, points to Anders leaving Catatonia for the reason that the new album is a little step down. I'm like, Jonas has written, the last few albums.
Since Dead End Kings. He's
the only writer.
Anders has been involved with Bloodbath almost exclusively. Anders wants to fucking he wants to be a metal guitar player. He doesn't want to be an emo rock band.
Yeah.
Look, man, put on another Diabolical Masquerade. I'm happy.
Please. Listen, look, I listened to that album and I just couldn't connect with literally any song on it. I was like,
I need to spend some more time with it, because I've seen people say the more it's an album that takes a lot of dedication to really.
Yeah, and I know that's one of your favorite bands, and I love fucking Catatonia from Dance all the way up to I start getting iffy around Dead End Kings. That's where I start getting kind of like, all right, I think I've heard this song.
I'm not ready to dismiss it, but
yeah,
I was impressed on first.
All right, back to Rick and Ghost. Sorry.
No, all good. Another thing I forgot to say about Descending Winters. It's probably such a cold sounding song, which kind of fits the cold feel of this. Just looking at that, it just trying to explore what the sound of this is like if you look at that cover. Forgiver, that was a big single for them. Obviously they released it as a single, and that's the one that had the Solitude cover on it. Also, I think it's a side B thing, which is cool, which is really hard to find now. I don't expect that to get repressed. I don't know why they would, but wait for them to get their name out there and whatnot. So everything Jake said again applies here. Fragile, fucking haunting melody, man. Another one that really fits the feel for this. They really, this cover starts to make sense. And then when Miko does that sort of croning pains thing with the vocals that he does, it's just, again, another example of his versatility. How he can kind of move between these styles. It's the same guy, on this. It's amazing. Ghost of Laura Palmer, it's consistent. It's 8-minute track. A lot of these songs are seems short when you compare to opener at 11 or 12 minutes. You know what I mean? But these are more or less long songs.
Yeah, a lot of long songs.
My favorite on here is it's got to be Gloom, Beauty, and Despair.
Man, I love that song.
Later in the song, it's mid tempo, but it's very dense,
Should have been the closer.
atmospheric, and it's got this very. The thing with doom metal is you can go different ways, but I love the way the doom tempo of this works. It's like if I had to set a dial where I like my tempo to go with doom metal, that song kind of hits that notch, you know, where they go with that. You know, and you know, again, I think between this and the ship, I'm fine with either one as being the ender. I agree. That could have been a really, you know, Gloom, Beauty, and Despair could have been a really good ender, too. But I'm fine with the ship. You know what I mean? The atmosphere with this, everything, fucking great package, man. Another one I got from
Is that no G?
World Records. It's same one. I got this in morning around the same time.
All right.
So it's back in like 2018, something like that. But
yeah, I fucking snoozed on that shit.
It sucks, man. You know, at the time I didn't think about it. I'm like, oh, just grab it, not thinking that this shit would be fucking going for like almost 6 figures. You know, sometime later. It's kind of stupid, but I wish they would just repress it. So people need access to this, man. It's good shit.
Well, I might have just made a bid on that that original first album. I might have just accidentally like slipped in a number. He was taking offers, so I threw a number. He's gonna say no, I'm sure, but we'll see what happens on the OG press of the Imperium press of Morning Never Came. I was there. I'm like I gotta put a bid in. All right, so
what was your bid so I can go put $1 more on it?
I'm not fucking telling you. I love you, buddy, but I ain't telling you that. Come on, man. You think I'm fucking retarded or what? All right, let's see. That was not a nice word to use. I apologize. You think I'm stupid? There you go. I could be stupid. I might be stupid. All right, so this album. This is the one that always seems to get neglected on the shelf by me of the first 5 or the first 4 that I owned, because I didn't own number 5. We'll talk about that soon. Not because I don't love it, not because I don't think it's on par with the first album. I agree with Jake. It's a slight step backward in some ways, but in other ways, I don't think it is. I think they start to add a bit more of the gothic element to this, and the Juho's songwriting continues to expand, which he's kind of done that, I say, all the way up until Songs of the North. And then when I really dug into the last couple of albums, let's throw the last one out right now. We won't include that. But even Moonflowers and
Shadows.
Thank you. Man, there's some incredible songwriting on those albums. But this album, man, starts out with Giants. And god damn, man, what a fucking amazing song. 11 plus minutes. I can't see exactly. I think it's 11:06, I believe is what it was. And it starts out with that haunting little triad of notes that he's playing, those ghost notes that kind of ring out, and with the modulation they just kind of hang in the air. And without question, Giants is one of my favorite. Here we go. Are you ready? Is this the first or the second time I've said it? Probably the second time. Definitely one of my favorite Swallow the Sun songs. Begins delicately and forlornly, like you're walking out on the moor with the ghosts, soft and wraith-like, and then it slams you with intense heaviness. But the really cool section is when it starts to drift into the musical breakdown section, and then those killer octaves come in. Those down, 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 down. That fucking section is so unbelievably heavy. And frankly, for me, it doesn't last long enough. It could have gone for like a minute or 3. And he only does it for maybe, I don't know, 8 bars, maybe a minute or so. But God, that section is so fucking killer, man. That's my favorite part of the section. But of the song. But the whole song is a tour de force of Juho's writing style. It's a 15 out of 10, man. That song is a ultra mega black hole banger. The Giants is it the Giant or Giants? Giants. The Giant. Fucking love that song. Descending Winter, cool ascending riffs and really heavy synth on this one. But you get some Galloping Doom on this one. It's a really, good chuggy song. A solid track, not one of my favorites. Then we get into Psychopath's Lair. Man, this one, The Giant, and One More Song are my three favorites on the album. It's just, fuck, dude, it's so headbanging, man. This song is the headbanger song on the album for me. And it starts with the verses being super headbangy, and then the riff, the chorus kind of being a little bit more mellow and haunted, spookily sort of drifting. And then you get into the more introspective chorus arrangement, which is just super cool. But I love Psychopath's Lair. Forgiver has kind of some almost pop sensibilities a little bit. And if you're looking for like an earworm, this could be the track. But it's got that really cool intro with the synths and the guitar lines that kind of follow. And then Miko, he just growls, like that particularly deep growl that he has, that scathing long growl that he has. And then the problem I have with this song overall is Forgiver's a little over 9 minutes, I believe, right? I could see this being a 5.5 minute song. I think it kind of drones on a little bit too long for me. That's my probably big knock on this album, is that song. It's just too long. Fragile, on the whole, pretty cool song. More cleans than harsh vocals on this, and he uses a lot more clean vocals on this album than he did on the debut.
Did you catch my note that that's the first non Juha track?
Fragile?
Yeah, that's the first.
I did. Yeah, I like it. It's an up-tempo song. It's got some really cool harmonic structure. Really, it's a ballad for the most part.
Yeah,
but it's a great ballad. It's really, really solid song.
After that is kind of where the album drops off for me.
Yeah, Ghost. Well, I have one track in there. I think that's the best track on the album. Long and Doomy track, Ghost of Laura Palmer. There's some cool harmony lines on it, but frankly, this one, and actually does some pinch harmonics. He does squeals on it, which he doesn't do a lot, like prior to this. Yeah, Ghost of Laura Palmer, it's kind of an okay track. I don't love it. I'm with Rick on Gloom, Beauty, and Despair. There's a real long intro with a lot of whispered, haunted, spoken words, kind of sung but not sung, more whispered. And then the roar at around 2:40, man, he just fucking unleashes, man. And, it's got a typo negative vibe, this song. I don't know if you think that, Rick, but this has a typo negative vibe. In fact,
yeah, it's got
those moments. Go ahead.
No, yeah, it's got those moments. Yeah.
Well, if you really listen to this song, it's got "Love You to Death" vibes. Let me love you to death. That's in this song. You can definitely hear it, man. It's there.
I'm gonna try to remember what you said, because that's gonna ruin it for me now if I listen to that again.
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's very melodic, gorgeous. Has some really good. I believe. Am I wrong? Is this the first female vocal that makes itself known?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I don't remember any.
I can't remember who it was. I didn't note it. I usually do, but I didn't write that down. Rick, you can look that up if you got a second. The female vocalist on this album. It's not Aaliyah. She doesn't come in until a little bit later. And then The Ship is a long and dreary, doomy epic last track, ending of which sounds like the sea is sucking you under.
The Finnish singer, her name is Marja Savolainen.
Okay, she's great. She's fucking all the female singers that they add in throughout the albums coming up are fantastic, man.
The archives actually list her as a male, but it sounds female.
Sure sounds female to me, man.
Yeah.
If that's a male, he's got a great soprano, man.
And it's Marja sounds like a
sounds like a
female
feminine name. Yeah. The Ship, last thing. It's a solid, but it's not the epic that I would have thought. I honestly think Gloom, Beauty, and Despair would have been the track to end this on. or the Giant. The Giant at the end would have been fucking killer, but that would mean rearranging tracks all over the place. So this one always seems to be my last listen to.
They do what Enslaved did with Eld, to start out with the big long fucking track in the beginning.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yep. But this one always seems to be my least listened to Swallow the Sun album. But yet when I pulled it out last Saturday, I went down to meet Serge and his kid for lunch, and I threw this on. I'm like, whoa, like why haven't I listened to this in a while? Like, what the fuck, you know? And then you know, when you have like Jake and I and Rick, you have 9,000 fucking choices. Sometimes it's hard to go, oh, I should go listen to this, because you've already done it and you put it away and it starts to collect dust. But man, this album, if you're a Swallow the Sun fan, you gotta own it. It's an owner.
Yeah.
This is not a throwaway album at all by any stretch. Again, for me, this album is the strong tracks outweigh the mediocre tracks, and they're not really mediocre. They're just not on the par of the strong tracks.
Yeah, in terms of their discography, they're, you know, the lesser tracks, but you know, their discography is so
Epically good,
strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll have to find out where we rank this, but for me, this is an 8.5 out of 10. And I gotta say, well, I can't say it. I can't say it till next time. But let's just put it this way. This album's kind of in the lower half, but it doesn't really belong there, if you get what I mean. It's that good that it... The problem is some of the really epic albums are so good, I can't put it above that. So that's all I'll say. So 8.5 out of 10.
Almost their entire discography is must own. I would
say it really is. I think there's only really one album we probably all agree maybe is, yeah. But that's for later, the next half. But I will say this: I think this would be a slightly better album if they had lopped off roughly 10 minutes of time throughout some of the tracks.
Yeah, it didn't need to be that long.
Yeah. So there was a little bit of self-editing would have done this thing. It would have really elevated it to, oh, fuck, I got to have this in my top 3 or 5 or whatever. So, and again, man, the Giant, oh, it's so good. And fucking Gloom, Beauty, and Despair, man. Those two tracks for me, just mega, ultra, supernova bangers. So, all right. So we're moving on to Hope. And I'm going to go first if you guys don't mind.
Go for it.
Excuse me. Although I don't have it to show. So somebody show while I talk about it. Sorry. There we go. I did order it. It didn't come in. This was actually, like I said, the first album I heard by them. Probably right around when it came out, maybe a few weeks after it came out. My buddy John Comiskey sent it in. Rick, do you have it on vinyl? You're going to show it when you... Okay. Recorded released February 7th, 2007. Recorded September 11th, September. I hate that they do that backwards. September 11th through October 8th, 06. I'm not used to the European way of doing things there. Came out on Spine Farm. So they actually kind of jumped up a level. Spine Farm has a global distribution network, which the other one probably didn't have. Firebox didn't probably have global or
international. I almost feel like it would have been holding them back. It's the Firebox.
I think it did. It held them back from being more widely known, probably a little bit. But yeah, so this album comes out, and I'll start with my ending versus where. Okay, this is the album that hooked me in, made me a huge fan, and in particular, the last song, which I'll get to in a minute. This is a 9.75 out of 10. Now, why is it that? I'll tell you why. It starts with Hope, which is a fucking amazing song. Wistful, melancholic intro, arpeggiated guitars, clean vocals, some of Miko's most haunting and sad vocals, clean vocals, then into a heavy, crushing chorus with a head-banging main riff, and then you get your that really gets you moving, and then you get Tommy Utzon, I believe, is in this song, correct? From Amorphous?
Actually, yeah, I think now that you mention it.
I think he is. He's singing on the verse. I'm almost certain he sings on this song. Let me double check. Where's he at? No, he's on track 9, so I guess I'm wrong. But it sounds a lot like him, man. So it's not him. He's on the Lowlands, which is the bonus track. I didn't know that. I would have swore if you listen to the chorus of Hope, it sounds like Tommy Utzon is one of the co-vocalists because they stack Miko's vocals. But that'll just show you how Miko has, Tommy Utzon is another guy that I think has just an amazing.
That would have made sense at the time because he just joined Amorphous not that long ago after that too.
Right.
At that point.
Right. 3 years before 06. Right. And these guys are all they're all friends. So, and I think they've toured, as Nick said, he saw Swallow the Sun open for these guys. So I really thought he sang in that song, but he doesn't apparently. Man, dude, Hope, that chorus is undeniably an earworm. It's just so good. And then you get these Hours of Despair. This is the one, I would say, the black metal. The first time the real black metal shows up in their discography is on this song. It's just fucking savagely heavy. You get lots of up-tempo chugs, super epic haunted synths, whispered vocals, and you even get blast beats on this song. And man, Jesus, this song is so good, man. This song is so fucking killer, but it gets better. It gets better. The Justice is Suffering, chugging with moaning synths and a real swagger. Groove that isn't kind of typical of a Swallow the Sun song. I really dig this one. The chug is kind of heavy. It's got this echoey sort of thing going on in the very beginning. And then we get into, I'm listening to this when I first heard it, and I'm like, man, Miko sounds like fucking Jonas Rensky. He sounds like Catatonia. It's because Jonas Rensky's on this track.
He's versatile, but he's not that versatile.
But I didn't know that because I had a CDR, so I didn't know. So I'm like, God, that sounds like fucking Jonas. How's he do that? And then I'm like, oh, when I finally saw the credits, I'm like, oh, that's because it's Jonas. There we go. All right. So Jonas is great on this, man. He makes the track so much better. That chorus is so good because of Rensk. It's so good.
I also like that era of Jonas's vocal style too, and when he transitioned a little later to the even more crooning.
Well, I would say this song could be a massive fucking hit if it was a little shorter. It's 6:27. Make this I don't want to see it shortened, but if they would do an edit for radio, this would be the song to edit for radio because it's just got that gothy, cool grooviness.
It's very accessible in that kind of way.
Very accessible. Yeah. But if you thought it was really good then, it gets a lot better because Don't Fall Asleep comes up. And man, this is the song that made me go, I fucking love this band so much. And this is the clean Miko I love. This is the clean Miko that when I saw them live, I'm like, oh my God.
That's a staple live track for them too. Every time I've seen a live track, that's you can't miss. That's.
And this is, by the way, this is the horror.
Purchase if they don't play that live.
Yeah, and this is the horror part 2. This is part 2 of the quadrody, and that little that is right out of where, Jake? Where'd that come from? Brave Murder Day.
Yeah.
But the best part is that don't fall asleep. Da, 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 da.
Such an earworm.
It's like
Brave Murder Day. Name 3 songs.
Yeah. I think Brave, Murder, Day, and Rain Room, bitch. Okay. All right. This song, Don't Fall Asleep, is kind of it's the epicenter of the album, but it's not the best track. It's not the best. For me, it's not the best track. All right. The Too Cold for Tears, haunted piano melody intermixed with Nico's forlorn, clean whispers. And then it kicks in so damn emotionally heavy.
Yeah.
Really the super epic piece on the album, man. This fucking song, literally, I think about this song and I just want to cry. It makes me feel so human. It's so intense. I'm getting teary-eyed right now, man. The synths really take a big role in this song. They're beautiful. They're they're ethereal. They cocoon you like a cloud. You're enveloped in this song that is so beautiful. I'm reminded a little bit of Esoteric, the band Esoteric, because it's a long track. I believe this one's about 9 minutes, right? 8.5 minutes, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
Well, let me look up here. Sorry. 9 minutes. Yeah, 9:16. It's just, fuck, it's so beautiful, man. The song is just so
I would
beautiful.
love to ask you how much Greg Chandler had an influence on him too, man. Because
I wonder, man. I mean, because like I said, that mellow acoustic part at 6:20, you can't put it into words, man. It's like you cannot put into words just how devastatingly beautiful that section is. The main riff is simple, but it's mind-blowingly heavy. And this song, feels like what pain feels like.
Yeah.
This song is so intense, man. It's making me fucking hurt right now.
all right, that what just happened. That's the kind of shit Swallow Sun does, man. Like you're gonna get more of this in the second half. Like they have that ability, man.
All right, The Empty Skies is kind of a letdown. It's probably my least favorite song on the album. I'm just saying. No Light, No Hope is heavy, doomy, chuggy riffer. And then we get to a song that might very well be the song of their catalog. I don't know. This song and the Too Cold for Tears are, on any given day, the Doomed to Walk the Earth. It gives me a different vibe than it makes me feel a different way than Too Cold for Tears does. Too Cold for Tears makes me realize how mortal I am and how much time I've got left. Doomed to Walk the Earth makes me think about being a ghost and being trapped here forever. And it just, I have to say, this is the best track on the album for me, because you start with that beautiful, mellow, just intensely floating. It feels like you're floating at the beginning of this track, right? And then it builds and builds and builds into the staccato part. The melodies are staggering. The guitar motifs on this song are, without question, for me, Juho's best, I think. The super ethereal part is very Opethy. You get that with the guitar just sort of just gliding along. That guitar melody that Juho or whoever plays it is just, it's like I can see the ghosts around me. Like I can feel them. And fucking mind-blowing. Just a mind-blowing ending track. I don't know if they played that when I saw them. I'd have to go look, and I will when somebody's talking next. But that song, I don't know how you guys feel. I'm really interested to hear how you feel about that song, and of course, the one I kind of broke down on. That song, Doomed to Walk the Earth, it's an epic of all epics, man. It is so fucking good. And then the bonus track is These Lowlands, which is a cover of a Timo Rautinen and Trio Next Shot. Great song, really doomy, awesome, but it's not part of the regular album. This album is a 9.75 for me out of 10. And the only reason I cut it just a tiny little bit is because The Empty Skies and No Light, No Hope kind of drift by, and I think it's the after effects of listening to Too Cold for Tears, because that song is so fucking draining to listen to, but in a perfectly wonderful way, that when I get to those other two tracks after it, I need to recover, and I almost can't. And that's why I cut it 0.25. But it's damn close to a 10 out of 10 for Hope. I love this album. It would definitely be one of the albums I would say start with this one. You're not going to regret it. Yep. But I could say that about all the first five in a weird way. So, all right. Jake, I'll let you go next.
Okay.
Don't break down and cry like I did.
Real men cry, Jeff.
Emotions are allowed here. Let's just
I
say
know,
it's a
I
safe emotion zone.
This is Swallow the Sun.
Yep.
Okay. So what I put down on for this one is it's definitely a step up for me from Ghosts. Not that Ghosts is in any way a bad album. I put it as a very good album as far as how I rate it. But yeah, loaded with just, the signature Swallow the Sun killer melodic lines throughout the album. It's got less of the atmosphere of the previous and less of the funeral doom influence on it. And lyrically, they just continue to improve, and Miko's vocals continue to improve on this one. This is the period where I feel like his vocals really start to peak. Track highlights, I put, all the tracks on this are killer. Hope has that great main riff. The vocal performance on it is stellar. These Hours of Despair. It's got
Dave, let me just jump in.
Yep.
Eric has me nailed perfectly. We all know you have 20 songs in your top 5, Jeff.
I tossed the idea that we should do a greatest hits.
I'm not a mathematician, but how does that work?
Well, you know what? I tell you what. Let's do that at the end. We'll do a ranking, and we'll do our top 10 Swallow the Sun favorite songs.
Maybe top 10. We'll talk about the number that we do.
All right. Because 10's tough.
For our second second one, we'll figure that out. But I think
ask me to do that after a few beers in, man. Oh,
I think we should do a track listing for.
How much you drinking already, James?
I agree. Greatest hits.
How much you're in already?
I've drank this whole bottle.
I'm kind of buzzed already.
Holy
so
shit.
100%.
That's kind of why I broke down. I got a little bit of buzz going.
I feel like such a sissy next to you, man.
But yeah, These Hours of Despair. It's got that great heavy chug that a lot of their tracks have. I love the build up at the end of the song, and then it just ends. A lot of times that sours me on songs, but it just works on this to just build up and then in the song. It really works on that one. Justice is Suffering, fantastic song. Just Jonas's guest spot on it just makes that track. It's phenomenal. Don't Fall Asleep, Part 2 of Horror. Yeah, that's definitely would be a contender for a greatest hits album. It's a staple Swallow the Sun track. What did I put? The melody when it leads into where it just drops into the absolute crushing heaviness is killer. That melody is awesome. Too Cold for Tears. I love that somber intro and the key work in that is awesome, is stellar. This track just has that great flow between those somber. I don't want to phrase it as quieter moments, but yeah, just like the more subdued, somber moments, and then it just goes into the heaviness, and it just does that throughout the song, just back and forth. Is just a great way to write a song. It's the way the track closes is another great part of the song, of the album. It's got great raspy black metal vocals on this track are stellar. And then Empty Skies. I don't feel the same way as you, Jeff. I love that song. It's got a different tone to it and a different vibe than most Swallow the Sun songs, but I don't think it's in a bad way. It's a different Swallow the Sun song, but I love it.
Well, I don't dislike it. I just say it's probably one of the least more hard hitting songs for me.
Yeah, and
that's cool.
I don't know that it's like the best track of the album, but I really love that track.
Okay, that's cool.
No Light, No Hope. Just another stellar Swallow the Sun track. And then Doomed to Walk the Earth, easily the doomiest track on the album. It's got those haunting female backing vocals, and it's got cool, creepy keyboard work on it that I love that that key work on it. So I never listened to the not
bonus
never,
track.
but preparing for this, I never listened to These Lowlands. So I don't,
Yeah, it's good. It's a cool track. I don't know. It's probably on the CD reissue. Or
it's
something
on my
like
CD version.
Oh, it
but
is. Okay.
I didn't listen to the CD leading up to
Listen
it.
online.
I listened to it
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
Streaming.
Heads up, just a heads up. I got to make a public service announcement. I just bought the album, the first album, the original press, for $80. I got it for $80.
You could have just gave up your kidney. That would have been easier.
I got it for $80.
That's a good deal.
Plus shipping, so it's gonna be.
Wait. How good is
86.
your kidney nowadays?
Huh?
Gotta ask.
Yeah, my kidneys are fucked, so it doesn't matter.
I was the Swallow Sun album.
But there you go. Now you know what my bid was. $80.
What was the condition on it?
Near mint.
Nice. That's
VG plus. So, and that's the one with Rick. Does yours have a etching on the backside or no? Is yours a Imperium? Because I got the Imperium one.
Welcome back, Eric.
Eric's back already. Holy fuck. All right. Sorry to disappoint. We love you here, bud. And by the way, Oreo, man, thank you very much.
Etching on that debut?
Etching on the debut vinyl on side D.
I
don't think his is the OG press because
I got the weird splatter. I got the weird splatter one.
Nah, yours in the OG then. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
like the second press of it.
It's dead wax, man.
I got the Imperium one with the etching on the back. So wow, kind of excited about that. And that right there, gentlemen and ladies, you just saw me spend the most money I've ever spent.
But look how pretty this splatter.
It's pretty. I love it. I think the one I got is black vinyl though, the original one. So
yeah, I think it is.
Oh, that album Black is good.
Black is Blackbird.
Nice and fucking dark.
Yep.
Oreo, thank you so much, man. I don't know if you know what I'm going through, but I spent 10 hours in the ER less than 48 hours ago. So things ain't great. Things are not great. And I should not be drinking, but fuck it. I don't care at this point. All right, Rick, you're up, man, for Hope.
All right. Shit. I'm glad you guys went as long as you did, because I think you guys made a lot of really good fucking points. Like, while I was finishing up this Sweet Baby Jesus PB&J, I need another one now.
Rick just wants to say Sweet Baby James so bad.
I do. I fucking James
Taylor. Sweet Baby
James Taylor shit.
Oh yeah, I know.
But that's a topic for another day.
I don't know if I ever talked about that, but Sweet Baby James and fucking Carol King's
Yep.
Tempest. Yep. Those are the first two rock albums I know I heard in full, along with Bridge Over Troubled Water with Simon and Garfunkel. So that was where that, and we're talking 1970 now.
Those three sound like an imperfect pair.
They do sound like a perfect pair. Damn, look at you, bud. I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. All right, go ahead, Rick. Give us your hope drone.
So I got the Smart reissue. Although I, like you mentioned, they were on Spine Farm,
right?
Records, U.S. distribution still through Candlelight at the time, which is I think they really needed that push. This is a band that it's like it would have been criminal to be deprived of being just not what do you call it, pushed out to the masses, the way they really needed to, because this is some quality fucking shit, and as you guys have already said, by the time they're already on their third album, Hope, and by the way, I don't know if you guys have mentioned this, but this is the first time we see their logo, kind of being introduced there. It's kind of Opeth-esque, if you will, that kind of way. I know they were a band of influence. At the same time, we mentioned Acrofelt a few times in this thing. After Ghost of Loss, as you mentioned, Jake, it felt like a step down. I would say that's always going to feel that way when you find something a little different, experimental, even though it was only their second album. At that point, from here, I almost see this as sort of like a proto New Moon, in a lot of ways. I think
I see that.
which is in that in itself is a step up. That perspective, the way I see it, I think it's definitely a step up. And because the next tour, what they would do would in of itself be a step up for the band. I think they really started to explore how they incorporate the sense of melodicism, and how they introduce ideas and variations. That's very, very interesting. As you guys have talked about with some of the songs here. Hope begins with Hope. It's a song that's very up tempo, a little more bright, and you're thinking, okay, it's this how the rest of the album's going to sound? Because we're a little biased. We hit play in that album, and that first track, it's going to give us a bit of a vibe, right? Like a lot of basically how we digest music. Great intro, and it kind of tells you that this is not Ghost of Loss. They're back. It doesn't sound like As Morning Comes, Morning Never Came, Ghost of Loss. There's something different about this, and that's why I mentioned the kind of a proto idea of where they're moving into a different. This is a different sound for the band, production wise, as far as where they're going. When did this come out? 2007. So I think it was 2006, 2007.
6.
6.
Yeah, actually, I kind of goofed up. I didn't do that, did I?
It was only a year, right? It was only a year.
Actually, it was 2008, September 17th, 2008.
Was it 2008?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I
Uh,
goofed. Sorry about that.
Unless it
Oh,
was.
wait a minute. No. Wait. No, that's Plague of Butterflies. Sorry. Here
I mean,
it
it
is.
might have been U.S. Maybe Europe.
February 7th, 2007. Yeah.
Okay.
Pride Farm.
Well, that would have made sense, considering the time. Look how young these guys look there. Look at you. Look at you how today. Look at the way you look now, man. It's so fucking baby faced.
Yeah.
Like, damn. But yeah, here's the rest of the cast and crew. So cool. I mean, I like these kind of shots. Just kind of get an idea of like what it's just the ideas behind the music. You know what I mean? It's just the guys behind the band. All fucking excellent performers, man. And again, just this kind of material. And I'm kicking myself because I was not listening to this in 2007. I was not listening to this album. I should have been. I was too busy. I was too busy being a dad and other shit that
Yep.
put all that aside. I should have listened to Fall of the Sun. What was I thinking? But anyway, this album, fuck man, with Hope, and then These Hours of Despair. I think it's great as a second track because it reminds you like, whoa. It's so fucking brooding and heavy. Don't you forget that. You know what I mean? There's a cool breakdown, like really nice ethereal keyboard. It's not as atmospheric, like Jake said, as Ghost of Loss, but there is a different use of the way they do the keyboards, and I want to emphasize that because this is not a band you listen to and go, well, this is like Dimmu Borgir. Like the keyboard is used in such a way where it's prominent in some places, but sometimes you forget how much it adds to the sound, and you forget that the keyboard is there. You know what I mean? And then until you're actively trying to concentrate and listen to the fact that the keyboard is doing so much to adding to the guitar, to that tone of the bass. You know what I mean? It's just something just very genius about it. You know what I mean? Like when something is going so well and so appropriate, you're not actively thinking that it's there. It's doing its job. You know what I mean? That's how you know it's done very well. I think that with These Hours of Despair, the harsh vocals kicks in again, the way he teeter-totters back and forth. It doesn't sound jarring. And that's the thing I want to emphasize. We were talking about this band. Nick was able to kind of move into between these clean vocals and these harsh vocals. He does these sort of deeper vocals, and he does the high screechy thing. But never at these points does it sound like it takes you out of the music. It fits for what it is. You know, and just I can talk about all day about how this band is awesome, but it's just another element to the sound and the way they do the transitions, you know, between these songs. With these long songs, there's a lot of what do you call it? Active conscious concentration about how you're going to apply these. I'm not a songwriter, so I don't know what the correct terms.
Well, if I could interject for a minute, the one thing about a lot of these long songs is, and almost all their songs are long. Almost every song is 5 minute plus. Until you get, I think, to the last album, maybe a few of the ones on Beauty on the 3 album Songs of the North, you don't have any sub 5 minute songs, and most are 6 plus. The thing about those kind of tracks is that, you know, in a standard pop song, you're doing a verse, a chorus, a verse, a chorus, a bridge, a verse, a chorus, fade out. That's kind of how that works. You repeat a lot of motifs. Juho does not do that. He writes, there are parts where he harkens back to original, maybe arpeggiated clean sections, and then he pulls in some riffs and then he totally switches it up. But it's not an abrupt jarring, like, oh, where did he go with that? It's not like fucking like Dillinger Escape Plan or something like, whoa, what was that? You know, there's not math rock shit going on, or there's not Dream Theater like, oh, we're going to go into the prog part here and go, you know, like 9 million fucking notes. Right. But the way that he writes music that I hear, he writes in sort of cascading ways where you start with a certain chord progression and then things kind of morph, and he does different inversions of things that suddenly they sound the same, but they're not the same. And so you're listening to a track that's 9 or 10 minutes and you're like, holy fuck, like he really hasn't repeated himself this whole track, yet at the same point in time, it's contiguous. It's not like you're listening to like, you know, you're not listening to like these weird jarring sections that don't make sense. That's why I honestly, I say he's one of the best songwriters of this genre by far, because he's able to keep you engaged. Eric was talking about Plague of Butterflies. Yes, Eric, we're going to talk about that next. It's a 34-minute song. It never gets boring. There's no moment in that song that you're like, all right, I'm out. You know, I mean, to like, and this isn't pointing a finger, but like, if you look at like Gorgut's last real album, it was Pleiades Dust. It was that EP. It was about this long, 34 minutes, 36 minutes. It's got a real long, droning middle section that, you know, unless you're into drone, you're not really going to be into it. That's not what Juho does. He really is. And I'm not saying this because I met the guy and talked to him. He always was one of those guys I was like, fuck, this guy is like a musical genius. He just really writes things that I want to hear, and he always kind of surprises me. I never can go, oh, I know what's coming next. That's the next part. It's going to be that. He never does that. He never does the, oh, I know what's coming next part. So sorry, go ahead, Rick.
No, I'm glad you made those points, man. It needed to be said. I think that people are always looking for reasons to check out a band, listen to a band. You know what I mean? Like, we are given like ample examples, and that's another one, you know, like of many. And this is a band that's been around for a while. I mean, this incorporated in 2000. We're almost 25 years in. So they're bordering on the edge of, they could be a classic Finnish rock radio.
Yeah, they could. Yeah.
You know what I mean? For what it is. But yeah, I mean, going into, obviously, you know, guys talked about Jonas and Justice of Suffering. That could be very much, I think when you talk about like radio rock or radio sound, like the European sensibilities of what radio rock is could be a little different than what we interpret here in the US. You know what I mean? But over there, I think it's also accessible in that kind of way. I think that if I were to introduce someone who's not really into Death Doom per se, but are exploring into different styles and are not or open to more extreme kind of music, but are into the more emotional stuff, that's a perfect fucking track. I would definitely pull that out of my ass. Be like, hey,
no doubt.
I think that's one of the reasons why Swallow the Sun really grabbed me. Is, you know, it's so fucking it's so heavy, but there's still a hint of accessibility to it.
Yes.
You know, where I came from, you know, Dark Tranquility and Flames type stuff.
I mean, you could almost at times, and I will say that later this is way more prominent, but you could almost kind of say at times there's an emo edge to some of this. And that a lot of times people would go like, oh man, emo sucks, man. Emo, bro, no emo. But the way they incorporate the emo is it's more the emotional intensity of the songs. It's not that you hear the in the end, there's nothing else. I know that probably upsets you, Jake, but you know, when you go to the Linkin Park shit,
no, it's more of like the goth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to do an eyeliner to listen to this, you know?
It's a gothy emo vibe, but it's the you know, it's the intensity of the emotionality of the song, and they have that in spades throughout. But it doesn't sound sissy or like, ew, that's so, you know, I hate to use the word, but you know where I'm going, the G word. Like, oh, that's so G. Like, it's not anywhere like that. It's
it doesn't. It never gets the whininess.
It never gets the whininess, exactly.
Of like, you know, what you think of with like emo music. It's more that dark, doomy, gothy vibe.
It's a gothy emo, which is cool.
They never try to be trendy in any way. Juha writes from here. You know what I mean?
Well, the only trend they follow is their own trend, because you could kind of maybe slightly level the allegation that they do run in a certain lane. You know, kind of like Amorphous' Tommy Utzon albums all stay in a certain lane. You kind of have that a little bit with Swallow the Sun, but not quite. It's not quite as obvious with their stuff. Let's put it that way.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
I think it needed to be there. I don't know if bringing Jonas-san was kind of 20. Were they a Candlelight at the time? Is that what it is? Another reason
they might have been. I don't remember.
But either way, like, I think it was good to bring a guest on. They have really good female vocalists coming on, but a male vocalist is kind of unique for them.
Yeah.
Kind of co-vocalists coming for a track or two for what they do. Don't Fall Asleep, again, staple song. That's definitely like a top 10, top 5, you know, as far as.
Oh, fuck yeah, man.
They're part of the horror series. We noticed Ghost of Lost didn't have a horror song.
Yep, the horror quadrilogy, man.
They skipped it there. And it was back here, and this is probably, you know, a kind of a really good example of really good fucking Death 2 song, and it gets to that part with this like nice, this sort of pinch harmonic squeal thing going on, you know, with the heavy, at certain, you know, at that one part, it just fits, man. It's just this jigsaw puzzle, and it just fucking fits. Your ears know that song from an artist's perspective. You know, when you look at a painting and you can tell it's a little crooked, and your eyes wants to fix it. You know what I mean? The way they write their stuff, it just fits. Like it orients in such a way where you don't have to think about it too much. It just feels so natural. Again, if that makes any sense.
It makes zero sense to a drunk guy right now.
I'm drunk myself. I'm not making
I
know. So what the hell?
We're gonna get sloppy soon. Go ahead.
Too Cold for Tears. Like, we're a few albums in. Too Cold for Tears, slower song, but very welcome. I think it's a good break. It's kind of like a middle of the album. I think the first half is kind of intense, you know, for what it is, which is fucking great. Which is what we needed. Empty Skies, Another one. To think about Empty Skies and No Light and No Hope, it's, to me anyway, they kind of sound interchangeable. They sound very, very similar to me. There's different lengths. I think the one's like
Yeah, I agree.
7 minutes and the other one's like a little 4 minutes, but
Yep.
you put them either one or they kind of, I really cannot tell them apart that much. You know what I mean? Not that it's they're bad. They doing what they do. You know what I mean? But it's like, but I
They
can't.
don't stand out like some of the other tracks. Is my thing.
Yeah,
That's
it
my
doesn't have the distinction. You know, after Don't Fall Asleep. You know what I mean? You know, I know for everybody tonight. I'm not gonna fall asleep tonight anyway. Until Tohido's Weeping Up the Birds. I'm not gonna fucking fall asleep.
Rick's drunk.
Doom to Walk the Earth. I think Jeff, you fucking nailed it, man. Like
Man,
that. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind being buried to that song.
man, dude, that's the song. Oh my god.
The shit that was going on, man. Like stuff. Just a lot. It just makes me wonder. Like, there's a lot going on in 2006 that I missed. You know what I mean? And you know, this is one of them. It's too late to kick myself now. I mean, I've corrected that mistake. I'm back, and this thing needs to be listened to the masses. This is a fucking great album.
Amazing album. All right, so we're on to album. We're on to Plague of Butterflies, which is motherfucker. If I can find that one, I thought I had it out. Do I? I don't have that one out either. I didn't find that one. So there.
I gotta go take our something. Be right back.
Jake has it. All right, cool. Jake has it, and Jake, you're going first.
Oh, cool.
Real quick on that, since I already said it, February 7th, 2007, this comes out. Recorded September 11th through October 8th. Comes out on Spine Farm. Now, the I'm sorry, I did it again. I fucked up. I didn't move. Comes out September 17th, 2008 on Spine Farm. The original CD of this is just, which I have, but I can't find. It's buried somewhere. Has just the EP on it, which is 34 minutes and a few seconds, 34 or 42. But when they reissued it, and I think, is that on your album? You have the bonus stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
The bonus has Out of This Gloomy Light.
Swallow Horror Part 1, Under the Waves demo, all the demos that they did from 2003, I guess, are on Out of This Gloomy Light. So go ahead. Jump into that.
So I didn't really get any notes down as far as the tracks go, but the vinyl,
it's really one track in 3 parts.
Yeah. The vinyl reissue that I got has this really cool insert.
Oh, nice.
Explain
the album to everybody so that I can grab a glass of wine.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do. It really explains the album here.
Cool.
Kind of how it came about.
Be right back.
So, how this EP came about was there was this ballet troupe that approached them. They'd previously used some Swallow the Sun material in their performances, but they approached the band and were like, "Hey, it'd be really cool if you guys, collabed with us, wrote an entire piece that we could, use as a performance." So that's kind of the basis on the approach to writing this album, is to create a ballet performance for Plague of Butterflies. And they were given, free reign on, writing out the music. They wrote out the album. It's got a full story to it, which is it's a pretty cool story. It's about like this hermit living out in the woods by himself, but there's a village nearby. There's this lady. It's up to your interpretation whether they're romantically involved or just, friends, whatever. But she comes and visits the hermit often. They're close to each other, and then suddenly she stops visiting after a while, he's like, what's going on? Why hasn't she came back? Why hasn't she came visited? He visits the village and sees that they've been hit by the plague. And basically how it ends is he goes back to his shack, whatever, his dwelling space, and is holed up there. And she returns to him and carrying the plague. She's surrounded by the butterflies. The butterflies appear first at his shack, and they end up there together and die together. That's the more or less the story.
Oh wow.
So they wrote this whole thing, gave it to the ballet troupe, and then the ballet troupe, were like, okay, this is really cool. We need X amount of money to produce this ballet. And they're like, I don't think we're as big of a band as you think we are.
Yeah.
So the actual ballet performance never happens because there's no backing to it, because the troupe had no money to produce it, and the band obviously wasn't going to. So that's
But actually, Jake, I don't know if you know this, they have done this now since then.
They've performed it as a ballet now?
Yeah, there were three performances, I believe now, that have recently happened in the last, I want to say since COVID, maybe, like post-COVID.
I would imagine it's a different.
Well, the Finnish government, I think the Finnish government got behind it and put some money into it, from what I remember.
Yeah, I would assume with it being 15 years that it's a different ballet group, because I think it's a U.S. ballet group that wanted to do the performance.
Yeah,
in New York.
But they did. Let me look at this a minute here. Yeah, here it is. February 2025. Swallow the Sun featuring Ballet Finland. There's videos out there. In fact, if you look here, it was Ballet Finland performing Plague of Butterflies on board the 7,000 tons of metal, or 700, whatever it's called, 70,000 tons of metal. They did a performance there in February of 2024, January of 24. And what was the other one here? I'm just looking. There's actually a YouTube video out there of it. So, yeah.
I'll have to watch that. I'm not by any means a fan of performances, but it'd be cool to see.
It says right here, Swallow the Sun to perform Plague of Butterflies with Ballet Finland for the first time outside Finland. And they did it on the 70,000 ton of metal in 2025. So that's January 2025. Wow, how about that?
That's cool that they actually got around to, producing the actual performance.
Juha says, when I wrote the music for Plague of Butterflies, I didn't know that the story of isolation and loss would come true both in personal life, well, we know what he's referring to there, but also, which we'll talk about a lot in part 2, but also later collectively as the pandemic closed the world from around us. Now we seem to have come full circle as the piece has been brought to life in a form it was always meant to. So there you go, Ballet Finland.
Oh, and
I gotta watch that.
One other, note on this, the story, the lady's name is Evail, and the last track is called Evail 10 Minutes. That's the name of the track, and it's a reference to the final lines of the close of the albums, and it's let's see, and we drift away together, away from the pain, deep in this sheltering night, to a forgiving dream, until 1 minute past midnight. The room was filled
Wow.
with butterflies. So that's a really cool kind of like Easter egg to it.
Yeah. Did you go over the music? Did you talk about it? Because I was out grabbing stuff.
I didn't, get notes down on this one, so I just covered kind of that.
All right, Rick, what you got on Plague?
Yeah, I'm kind of with Jake on this one. I didn't write a whole bunch of notes on it. I didn't spend as much intimate time with this one as I did some of the other albums. Even though it's an EP, maybe that's why. Um, it's long. I mean, it's longer than Rain and Blood, so it should
It is longer than Rain and Blood. That's right. So it's technically an album.
it is. Is this the same one you got, Jake? The Smart reissue with with the demo tracks and all that.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I think that this is a nice kind of stopgap before their next release. I called what do you call it? Hope. It's kind of like a I don't know, like a precursor to material to what would eventually become, to in my mind, one of their magnus opus.
Right.
And this right here is kind of like a I hate to use this term because it's still fucking awesome, but a bit of a trading bra for
Holy shit.
for what would become.
Good Lord.
But only because what comes after this is that's fucking strong. You know what I mean?
That's amazing.
And that's why I call it that. But even with that removed, this on its own, the fact that it had to be split up into these three parts, it's in my mind, it doesn't introduce anything different per se from what we know. If you were already listening to Swallow Sun at the time,
right,
you're coming from Hope.
Yep.
It doesn't have any elements to go, wow, they've never done that before. You know what I mean? It there's nothing out here that stands out in such a way where it's like, okay, this is completely off the wall and
yep,
what they haven't done. But as a piece of composed music, for what it is, I mean, this is another very welcome addition, I think, to their catalog. What I
would say, if I can interject,
yeah,
essential, fucking essential. If you're into Swallow Sun, you got to own this. There's just no way you shouldn't.
Well, yeah. Well, obviously, I got it, so it must be right. So,
yeah, dude.
No, but it's if you love this music, you know what I mean? Like, if this is something that's been sort of just stirring your pot, man, as far as the kind of stuff that ticks all the boxes of this Death Doom style, which is, there is Death Doom, which has, you know, a lot of the stuff that you like, but I think this adds a little more. There's just a little. There's like an extra cherry, you know, on that cupcake, you know, with this band. They add so much more. They give you so much more than what you thought you would be getting. You know what I mean? And between the melodicism, the keyboard, like, they don't skimp on anything. You know, like, all those elements are there. Even though with this particular EP, it doesn't have anything that you haven't on paper heard before. It's just another great very long track. This is something you can't just put down and, you know, on your record player or CD player and hit play, just let it run, and you're just going to go through a ride. This is what it's meant to do. This half hour, what is it, 34
minutes, 34 42.
Yeah. You're going to go through this, you know, just fucking this volley of a just fucking roller coaster.
Well, I would argue that, and I'll throw my shit in quick while we're live here. There's a very long intro. In fact, vocals don't even come into almost 5 minutes in. It's a very building type intro. Beautiful intro. This is a very much a proggy track. It's very progressive. You know, and you know, if you know Juho like I do now, he's a Rush fan. He's a Marillion fan. They are neo-prog, and obviously Rush is kind of like the OG prog band. They like to build tracks with cool intros and interesting things, right? And actually, Plague of Butterflies reminds me a little bit of like La Via Strangiato from Hemispheres. The first 5 minutes of it does, anyways. Then you get the vocals. Oh, I'm getting a weird. What's going on there? Did somebody change their? All right, I was getting.
Is it gone now?
Yeah, it's gone now. Yeah, what was that?
Baby monitor.
You were playing something. All right, okay.
No, the baby monitor was going.
Oh,
off.
baby monitor. I was hearing. Okay. Yeah, I could hear it just a wee bit there. It was like.
Yeah, it was some static going.
All right, we're good. Yeah, at 5 minutes, You get the vocals. That's the part one, Losing the Sunset. That last part into Plague of Butterflies, man. That piano interlude, so cool.
It's almost haunting to me too.
It's super fucking haunting, man.
It's-
Which is, that's what they
I
do.
think this is a quintessential example of what an EP is supposed to do. You know what I mean? It kind of it frees you from all the limitations of what an LP does. You can do that 135-minute track,
but it's like,
you know,
I will say this, man. At no point through this song am I like, God, just get this over with, man. Like
No,
this
not at
is.
all.
It just doesn't. It's very well put together.
It doesn't feel as long as it is.
You
either.
get into Plague of Butterflies section where it slams into that killer Black and Doom section, man. I mean, it's fucking viciously heavy. Like you pull out Dark Throne, pull out Emperor, it's there, man. You can hear it, right? And then you get those blasts for a bit there, even in that section. A lot of ethereal synths, some really cool black metal minor chordal stuff that's going on there. And then another long intro into part 3 when it slows way down. You get into almost funeral doom at the last section, or in the last song section, which is called Eval 10.
Yeah. You thought they weren't going to go there, and they did, and they got even more darker.
Yeah. That's like the funeral doom section.
Yeah.
And then when you go out, my favorite part of the whole thing is that outro phrase with those descending chord sequences. God damn, man. Tons of melodic motifs there. Super earwormish. Again, this is a really progressive metal track in a lot of ways. But we're not talking like Fate's Warning or Rush or Dream Theater. We're talking more from a blackened metal standpoint. I will say this song is very progressive in, here comes the O word, an Opethy way. It's very Opethian, this song. And a lot of changing dynamics, a lot of tension, building and easing of tension throughout the song. And I'll tell you right now, man, this was my very first purchase of Swallow the Sun, and I was like, okay. It was not my first listen. Hope was my first listen. What's weird is I got that on CDR of Hope. I still don't own a physical copy. That's kind of weird. But the bottom line is this is a must. You must own this album. It's this EP, whatever you want to call it. To me, it's an album. And it's fucking epic, dude. This to me is 9.25 out of 10. Only reason I dock about 0.75 is simply because I guess it could have been 3 songs, but it wasn't. But it's, man, I mean, there's nothing about this album that isn't great. This EP that isn't.
It doesn't feel as long as it. Not to me, anyway.
No, it doesn't. No.
I'm glad you said that though, because put yourself in Opeth's shoes, right? It's like this is why they need to keep their shit top notch, because you got bands like this that could pull something like this out of nowhere and be like, well, it's like this is their competition.
Yeah, but you know how I feel about Opeth, so I'm not gonna entertain any of this bullshit that they kind of slid. Okay,
I mean,
I don't think they ever slid at all.
It's just it's not like Opeth is a doom band, but I'm saying like, but they have these. There's these bands in the scene who can do these long form kind of songs and compose it very well. You know what I mean? And it's and they're a younger band.
I mean, if we want to talk about Opeth's longest song is 19 minutes. That's Black Rose Immortal, and it sounds like 3 different songs put together. Whereas this song sounds very fluid, and it just flows. There's no moments that you're like, oh, that he tacked that on right there. That was an add-on right there. It has that waveform of, it just undulates and kills. So for me, this is a quintessential you must own it EP for this band.
Yep. Yeah. They don't put that many out. It's like, I think this is their only, in my mind, their true EP. Like,
I'm not really certain. It would be interesting. It'd be interesting to talk to Juho and find out like why he felt they should put this out separate from the next album, which we're going to talk about, New Moon. Like maybe he just had so much material that was like, look, there's a specific story around this. Yeah.
It's because of the ballet aspect. That's why it's an EP, is because
Did he
they
write
wrote-
it? He
they
wrote it
it
for them.
entirely for them.
Oh, he did write it for them.
Yeah,
Okay.
they approached them because they'd used their music previously.
Ah, okay,
Hey, can
okay.
you write a piece of music
Okay,
for
so this was a specific thing for them. Okay,
Yeah.
makes total sense then. Yeah. And again, man, I can't emphasize it enough. If you get into this band, there ain't no way you're not buying this EP. You're just stupid not to. Like, that's the reality.
Well, the only other reason is because it's not available as easily.
Well, I mean, you can't find it on CD, really?
Well, if you want to
Find
pay
the
$50
original.
or whatever for a CD.
I think the CD is their CDs are accessible.
I think you can find the CD. I don't
I
know.
don't have it on CD, so I haven't explored, so I don't know.
Yeah, I would.
That's the first way I got it, and just checking Discogs for their previous stuff. All of that stuff was CD available.
Yeah, usually that's fairly out
The
there.
thing about Discogs, and that's the thing, like if you have to use Discogs as an example, that's to me that's not a real. As someone just casually exploring, buying music, going to a store,
Yeah.
if you have to resort to Discogs, that doesn't count. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but unfortunately, the reality of it is with this band, you might end up having to go that route because, especially for vinyl, you're just not going to find
Yeah.
you're not going to find their vinyl laying around anywhere.
The vinyl is all, the early stuff is all pretty hard to find, but I think pretty much everything on CD is on Amazon.
I'm looking right here at there's two versions on Discogs of Plague on Sfart, right? And do you have the Black Sun edition there? Which ones do you guys have? Black Sun or the Galaxy?
No, it's the black.
Mine's the black.
That's going
No, mine's
for cheapest one's $58.
Mine's this one.
Jesus.
So probably the Galaxy.
Hang on, I can't see it. Oh, you got the Galaxy.
I have to-
Galaxy. The Galaxy is going for. Hang on. Galaxy's going for $66 in Canada.
And I bet the fact that they have the demo on them inflates the price.
It does, of course, yeah.
Because people are after that demo.
Yeah.
But it's still an EP. People are like $66 for an EP.
And I gotta look and see. I have the original CD version, so I don't think that demo's on there. I'm almost sure of it. It's just the CD version.
I think Eric has a point. Like some people want to avoid Dr. Evil, and maybe Discogs might be the better option.
Yeah, Eric brought up something here. Tim brought up the English. Okay, yeah.
This CD,
that
CD,
the
I don't know if it's an original copy. I think it's a repress, but
What's on it?
It does have the EP on it.
It does. Okay, I'll have to look. I have to double check. I was gonna say Eric dropped something here. Where is it? Hold on. It's right here. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about this EP, and every time I listen to it, I hear something a little bit new. Like there's something that kind of unfolds itself to me, and you're like, whoa, I didn't notice that the first time around or the last time I listened to it. So, again, this is the EP is, to me, it's essential. I think you guys feel the same, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Fuck, I can't believe I bought that for $80. I'm still like, whoa, that guy accepted my offer. I can't fucking
I
believe
wouldn't
it.
say that the demos are essential if you already have the debut album. It's
True.
They're actually
They're not very
far
different.
apart.
They're not that different. So
No, they're not.
okay. Let's move on to the fourth album, fourth album. Yeah. We are talking about New Moon. We'll go with Rick on this one first. Recorded June 15th, mid-July 2009. Released November 4th, 2009. This one is where they bring in Jens Bogren. Of course, Jens is, everybody knows who that guy is.
According to them, he's quite the stickler.
What's that?
According to them, that he's quite the stickler in the recording.
Yeah, and
He's
he's very well known for Opeth and Soul Work and a bunch of those bands. This comes out on Svart and Spine Farm again. Recorded at Fascination Studios in Örebro, Sweden, and again comes out in November of 2009. Rick, I'll let you go first on this one.
Sure. Yeah, this is where I officially came in with the band. So I have a personal attachment to this. What a hell of an album to come in right away. This is what I needed and during this time in my life, 2011, maybe early 2012, and just exploring and getting into that. I'm like, this Swallow the Sun band keeps popping up, and I'm like, all right. And I found the cover intriguing, this right here, it's
awesome.
It is. I like this. I even got this Chinese import copy.
Oh, look at you!
Which is might be my favorite album art.
It's definitely very different.
Well, it's a woodcut, facsimile of a woodcut.
Yeah.
I think this one has the something here I should share. There's an insert. Jake, do you have the same one? I don't know if the Spart reissue or whatever the last time it came out.
And by the way, this has 2 tracks by Miko Katamaki. The singer writes 2 songs, Falling World and Heaven's Cried Blood.
I love that. I'm trying to show the layout, which is like, it just shows every song and it has like these lyrics. Pretty cool idea.
And I'm jealous of you guys and your fucking vinyl, goddammit.
I gotta say, like, out of all the ones that need to be desperately reissued, this is definitely this is number one. This fucking needs to be reissued ASAP.
What'd that come out on?
Svart, the one
Spine? Oh, Svart. Okay.
Was it Spine originally? I don't know if it was originally.
I think originally it was Spine Farm.
But before I get into it, let me just talk about there's an insert in here, right? With you with the interview. Do you have the Shake? I don't know if you see.
Yeah, it's a really cool interview.
It's pretty cool, right? Like, I'm not gonna read the whole interview, but just kind of just gloss over a couple of things. Let me see. The title "New Moon" came from Duran Duran.
New Moon on Monday. New Moon on Monday. And
hit that.
Yep. That shows again. That shows how Juho is always looking to steal cool titles from other bands that he loves.
Those are the ones. Typo Negative's Wolf Moon.
Yep. There you go.
Good show.
And by the way, just to throw this in, I'm interrupting. I apologize. Fucking early Duran Duran is the shit, man. God damn, I love that band so much. I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody says. They're awesome.
You can't say you like new wave, not like Duran Duran. I mean,
yeah. I love that song, New Moon on Monday. So go ahead.
Here's a funny one. He goes, at the same time, the Twilight Saga, A New Moon appeared in theater, and some people in the band thought we might have to change the title. I've never felt swayed to any extent by any implausible teenage movies, so I didn't even consider it.
Is that from Juho?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's basically saying fuck them. That's not why.
I love that fucking guy. I love that guy. Juho, if you're watching, man, I fucking love you, dude. You're awesome.
They ended up getting a lot of shit over that album title because that movie came out at the same
around the same time, right?
How about that shit?
This is gonna be some vampire.
Yeah, like they were trying to
vampire, corny crap.
Like they were trying to appeal to like teenagers or something.
Yeah.
No.
The worst is when you have a band
name. Listen to The Woods Breathe Evil, man. That ain't no fucking teenage shit.
That shit happens. That's even worse. Like Anthrax went through it. ISIS went through it.
Yep.
That just sucks, man.
Yeah.
So, again, and I hope if they should reissue this, that they can include the same insert in there.
Oh yeah.
I'm just happy they decided, but again, it'd be too much to go into and read in here, but it's definitely very noteworthy, and obviously they felt it because they included it in here. But yeah, I didn't realize it was. I mean, I picked this up around the time it got reissued, and obviously because it was already by then a favorite album of mine. But it's just going for stupid fucking money, which it shouldn't. That's the tragedy of collectors who buy this stuff. It's like you run that risk and that scarcity mindset, and it shouldn't be if you just want to just enjoy the music. You know what I mean? It shouldn't have to be a chore.
Yeah, an original press 2012. Looking right now, $113, cheapest one.
That's ridiculous. Like, you know,
And that's coming from New Zealand.
You know, Juha must fucking hate this. You know, like, I'm sure he wants his shit out there just as much, you know, as anybody else. You know, but I don't know. Yeah, fucking These Woods Breathe Evil. Fucking high pitched screaming, man, right off the bat. It's just getting that black metalism in there, you know, on top of it. It's great. I mean, the song title definitely fits. Fallen World. It's just sad, man. Just sad all over. To me, like, when it comes to the Death Doom albums of the 2010s, this has got to be up there with my favorites. Definitely top 3. You know, we talk about this kind of stuff.
Well, we're not there quite yet as far as ranking, but I hear you.
Sleepless Swans. I didn't say we're in a position. It's just in a range.
I hear you.
You know, fucking Sleepless Swan. If there's no boring moment in this album. I mean, Sleepless Swans, and Heaven's Cry Blood. That's another one. That long bending guitar part, it's just such an earworm.
Oh, dude.
You know, that main riff, you know, it just keeps coming back. Lights on the Lake. I'm not going to say too much because I know you guys are going to have quite a bit to say about this one, part 3.
Yeah, I got a lot to say.
But that is definitely
imagine that.
Not even a favorite of Salt of Song, just of all time. Just songs that I fucking love. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just that song hit me right here, especially with what I was going through. You know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And who was on this song. New Moon's another one. It's just Servant of Sorrow, Weight of the Dead, that doomy nature. It's just the nice slower tempo that I do love. Again, if I'm you know, if you ever check out my top albums of the year, Doom is always in there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
There's a certain taste that I have.
Yeah, you and me both. Yep.
And that's there. I love the fucking feel and just the transitions. Perfect way. It's just this album is fucking masterful. And Logan said he was washing dishes while listening to this. Good on you, man.
Logan, god damn it, where the fuck are you? Why did this stream start out with like 17 people and it's down to 8? Like, what the fuck is up with that, man? Very frustrating. And we're only 2.5 hours. Well, we're approaching 3. But the good news is we will wrap up about the time I said the after hang will happen. So, Jake, you ready for New Moon?
Yeah. So Rick already hit where the album name cover came from. This is one of my, favorite album covers of their catalog. I love that cover. We'll circle back to that cover in a little bit. This is the kind of what I would describe as the peak of what their sound is.
Agreed.
This is really captures the Swallow the Sun sound as a whole.
So in other words, say it's your number one without saying it's your number one.
Miko has he's really mastered his vocal approach on this album.
Yep.
This is where it all comes together. Like everything is on point. And there's an increased. I found there was an increased use of his black metal kind of rasp.
1,000% on this one. Yep.
Which I 100% approve of.
He's insanely good at.
Highlights of this album, every track really.
Yep.
These Woods Breathe Evil. The vocals are just so killer on that album. They're just sinister.
Yep, sinister.
I put this track is how you start an album. Just a killer track. Sorry, I had to stop my dog from licking herself. Falling World. One of the best melodies in the catalog, in their entire catalog. That chorus is so hooky. And it also has Dan Swano as backing vocals.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Yep.
I didn't read the
little
credits. Yeah.
little there. Sleepless Swans. It's actually the inspiration for the Halatar album.
Sorry, yeah. I just bought that CD 2 days ago. Yeah.
He says that on an interview sheet too, which is
Yep, that's where I pulled that from. I was just gonna read kind of because
We'll talk more about Jake. We'll talk more about that in part 2.
I was just gonna explain the album cover.
Yeah.
Sleepless Swans was the inspiration for the album cover. The original idea was to have 2 swans frozen on the lake. First swan already being dead, and the second trying to move with the last of its strength. Artist, however, refused to create something that horribly sad, and that's what they eventually ended up with. Something a bit more hopeful, in which the bird that already left the world is falling towards light, away from darkness. So yeah, that's a super cool song, Sleepless Swans. And Heaven Cried Blood. I wrote the guitar and vocals, but I think I meant keys combined to create just a great melody on that one.
Very catchy.
Yeah, super great melody, as they do throughout their catalog. Lights on the Lake, Horror Part 3 is the first time that Alea appears.
Yep.
On their songs. That song goes almost straight up black metal at times. Super cool.
Yep.
Super heavy, dark, great track. New Moon, just another earworm. This album is full of earworms. I love the twinkly guitar line that kind of serves as the backbone of the cleaner sections of the song.
Mm-hmm.
Super cool. Servant of Sorrow, super heavy track. That interlude in that track is beautiful. And then there's a lyric on there. Whoever is sentenced to love will bow down as a servant of sorrow. In that interview, Juha mentions that he has really considered having that line tattooed on him, and I think that line really just that line by itself captures.
What's the line again? Read it again.
It's what was it again?
Servant of Sorrow.
Yeah. Whoever is sentenced to love will bow down as a servant of sorrow.
Wow.
But that line just by itself captures the essence of the entire catalog.
Well, I was going to say that kind of captures the essence of Swallow the Sun.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I wrote on that one. And then Way of the Dead, just another album closer where they go to a doomier side, and it's just another perfect close to an album for them.
Great.
And yeah, that's what I had on this one. New Moon.
Good stuff, man.
I agree. It's like when they hit their magnus opus with the ideas and the methodicism, everything just came together, man, in such a way.
Like So this is the album that I saw them on for the very first and last time. And I got to meet Juho and Miko and the keyboard player. And this album, man, it's first I'll start out. It's a 10 out of 10. It's a 10 out of 10. It's a perfect album. It's the album in their canon that I say is kind of untouchable.
I would say Death Doom in the 2010s. That's definitely
2009, but yeah, you're right. I mean, these woods breathe evil, man. There is not a better song title ever. Jesus fucking Christ, man. That song title is like, we're going to kill you. Life is going to kill you. That's what's going to happen. Life is going to kill you. Top 3 favorite Swallow the Sun songs ever, man. It just rolls in. It's savage, heavy as fuck. It's symphonic, blackish. Miko's vocal goes full on Nocturno Culto meets Grutla from Enslaved. That's what I hear in his vocals. This track just rips, and yeah, of course, it's got the E minor harmonic tremolo pick chords in it. But it's just so heavy, man. Like this song is like they literally jumped into all on black. They've gone into full on black metal on this song when they kick into the song, and it's like nothing maybe they've ever done before. They've dabbled in black metal before, but this is the song where they just go, okay, fuckers, we can do that too, and we can do it better than you, and it's so good, man. Oh god, I love that song, man. Falling World, clean doomy vocals with a harmony chorus that is clean, and it's got a bit of emo in it, just a bit. I say a bit of emo-ish, almost poppy track. But what I really hear in this song, and I don't know if you guys hear it too, but thinking back, very Brave Murder Day-ish. It's got that. It's got that sort of driving Brave Murder Day-ish sort of vibe that the whole album has, right? So that's a Catatonia reference there. Sleeping Swans, Jake, you described it great, but one of my favorite tracks, mysterious and dreamy, killer melodies on this one. Quite a bit more intricate from a compositional standpoint. Miko's screams on the chorus are absolutely fucking amazing. The modulation on the guitars on this one is just amazing. The growls at 5:30 are insane. Some of Miko's heaviest growls. Man, Sleepless Swans is just what a fucking banger of a track. Then you go on to Heaven and Heaven's Cried Blood. Very catchy guitar with very catchy chorus with guitar melodies. You got a lot of arpeggiation in this song. It almost has a poppy sort of vibe, but it's deathy doom at the same time, and a lot of single line harmonies, which is kind of Swallow the Sun's thing. They like to do that in harmonies. They kind of do those, so you'll recognize that. And then you get into part 3 of the horror quadrilogy, Lights Out on the Lake. You got some opening harmonics, super eerie guitar riffs, shimmering, and then Leah Starbridge comes out. Man, God, what a voice. God, what a voice.
She sounds like such a ghost in that one, too.
Dude, the sad thing is we kind of know her posthumously. Like, I didn't know about her, even though I was into this band, I didn't really know about her until posthumously when, she died in 2016.
Yeah, I found out when a year after like that Trees of Eternity album came out.
Right, and I didn't even know about that album until it might have been you that brought that up, and I actually lucked into finding an OG.
I only found out about them because of the connection to Swallow the Sun. It was like,
right.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't know anything. When I read the credits on this, I'm like, I don't know Leah Starbridge, but God, what a voice, dude. God, what a voice. Like, there is nothing that hits harder in heavy metal or doom metal than just a forlorn and beautiful female vocal, man.
But so haunting, man. The
It's
production,
haunting.
whatever they put on that, whatever effects that.
Wow, there's a lot of delay and echo and reverb and
just perfect.
Yeah, she's amazing, man. And rest in peace. We're gonna talk a lot more about her in the second half of things because she was a very kind of a domineering thing over what Juha was writing for the better part of 3 albums, basically. Lights Out on the Lake, man. Goddamn, what a fucking track. Then when it kicks in, after Aaliyah Starbridge sings, Miko comes in with the My Dying Bride gothic era Paradise Lost stuff.
Yep. And
it goes full on black metal towards the end there, man. God damn. What a monster track, dude. This track is just it's epic. It's fucking epically mind-blowing. New Moon, you got super killer chiming guitar lines as you enter the song. It's kind of mellow and whispered vocals during most of the track, but it's a beautiful track. Servant of Sorrow, Jake kind of alluded to, really cool, very chuggy, sort of heavy, but also very melodic, also very radio friendly. This song, and what's really crazy about this song is, and I don't expect you to know this, Jake, but Rick, you might. This song really shows Juha's Rush fanboyism because it's got a lot of witch hunt in it. The song "Witch Hunt" from Moving Pictures. The chord sequences are very witch hunty in there, and I love it. Love it. Also, there's such great screams by Miko on this one. It's just killer. Weight of the Dead being the final track. This one almost has a symphonic Dimmu Borgir sound to it to me. It just sounds really like orchestrated, almost Emperor Dimmu Borgish.
It sounds a little dense to me too, which it kind of feels like the weight of the world.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. And swirling synths and the way the song builds and closes, beyond epic. It's another epic closer for another killer album. I saw them opening for Catatonia on this tour. It was the first and last time I saw them. Very pissed as fuck that I missed the shows in February because I'm sure I would have gotten to meet the guys and hang out a little bit. There is a bonus track on here, which is Servant of Sorrow, which is an alternate take with Steve Rothery. And it's killer, and you can definitely hear the Rothery input. If you're a Marillion fan, you just know. This is a 10 out of 10.
another thing worth mentioning too. This is an album that doesn't go over an hour. It's 53 minutes, or 50,
Yeah, it's
54.
It's right in that range where you can kind of stomach the length of it. Yeah.
It's the longest song is "Weight of the World." I mean,
Yeah.
every time
And again, 10 out of 10 for me. So you might be able to figure out where my ranking starts if you're.
I was wrong, Jeff. We might have consensus between the panel on 3 albums.
Oh, really?
We might.
Well, there we go.
But
Yeah, I would be
that Marillion guest spot.
What's that?
I was going to mention that Marillion guest spot by Steve on this because
all right, just a little taster for part 2. But your number 1 album, guys, is. Should we do that? We probably shouldn't. Should we? Yeah, we shouldn't. Never mind. It could change between now and next Saturday.
In the long run, but we'll save it.
I don't know. You're giving us another week to explore that Shining.
But you know what? I'll tell you what. I have to say that the latter part of the catalog, after Songs from the North, I had kind of, I don't want to say I missed out on it, but I didn't focus on it.
It's no slouch. Man,
there's some good shit. A lot of good shit to talk about, except maybe that last album. But anyways, moving on. We'll get to the 5th and final album. Everybody talked about New Moon, right?
Yep.
All right. So we are on to the album that I had neglected, which is the Emerald Forest and the Blackbird, and it came out February 1st, 2012, so 13 years ago, crazily. Recorded between September and October of 2011. This was produced by Mikko Karmila and Hannu Hanokoen. I don't know who those guys are. Came out on Svart and Spine Farm. Holy fucking shit. Jake, I'm going to let you go first on this one.
Okay. This is where my notes kind of left off.
Okay.
On album, so I'm going to be a little more sparse on my thoughts, but did come with another one of these inserts. Cool story here is that the name of the album comes from, so they describe it as one of the best known songs of like the Finnish people. It's Tapio Ratavara's Sinyan Una, which was released in 1952 when they hosted the Summer Olympics, and that was the inspiration for the first song. Juha grew up with that song as a child, and so that's kind of where the inspiration came from there for Emerald Forest and the Blackbird. Super cool story. As far as the track listing goes, what are the highlights? This is another album where basically every track is a highlight to the album. That was the first track is the title track. This Cut is the Deepest, another just stellar Swallow the Sun track. Hate Lead the Way, super heavy track, so cool. Cathedral Walls, that's kind of a, I don't know if it's a staple, but that's one of the more popular songs on the album that I know they play live somewhat frequently. One of the more popular ones. Great song. I actually bought a single when I first started collecting that had, because I was like, I'm going to collect everything Swallow the Sun did. I ended up picking up a single CD. I should have pulled it out, but I didn't have the time. That has Cathedral Walls and Silent Towers. It's the Silent Towers single CD. Silent Towers is another great song. Labyrinth of London. Horror Part 4, the last of the horror quadrilogy. Great track. Another track that references what's it called? The TV show. My mind's going blank. That we mentioned earlier.
Twin Peaks?
Yeah, another Twin Peaks reference. It references the poem, let me look at the lyric here. Sorry. My mind's gone blank on this one. I know Hard Carry for the Sky references it as well. Fire Walk With Me. It references the Fire Walk With Me poem. But Of Death and Corruption, another super heavy track. I would consider it an underrated track in the discography. I know I underrated it, and when I heard it leading up to this, I'm like, holy shit, this track fucking rules. April 14th is the Peter Steele tribute.
Yep, that's the day he died.
Yep, that's the date of his death. A lot of lyrical references to.
Well, not only that, the song sounds like a type of negative track.
Yep. A lot of references there to it, make that a tribute, and then it closes with the stellar Night Will Forgive Us. Just another great 2 masterpiece album in their discography.
Yeah, this album, if you go on to rate your music, it only ranks at 3.34, which is kind of low. Most of their shit's in the 360 range or 37 range. I don't get that at all. Not even remotely. I get that. Because I looked at that first, and then I listened to this, and I'm like, are you fucking out of your mind? This album, if I'd had a little more time with it, which I have another week with it, it might very well shoot way up. Way up.
For me, it was a lot like Hope, and it's kind of like sandwiched between other stellar albums that it kind of gets forgotten. For me, I forget how good that album is. It's next to albums that when I think Swallow the Sun, I want to listen to Swallow the Sun. Those are the albums that I pull.
Yeah, but this is
going through this, I'm like,
but this is one
that is really good.
Yeah, this is one you should pull. Yeah. Rick, how about you?
Yeah.
And by the way, that album, is it Svart? Both of you guys have Svart?
Svart, yeah.
Mine's Svart.
Man, those things are going for stupid fucking money, dude.
You know what's hilarious about this variant? Jake knows. This was accidentally printed on cardstock. It was supposed to be the white.
Oh, really?
You know, because anybody watching this now go, it's not supposed to be white. This is a misprint.
Yeah, it's kind of brown.
But they ran the copies already, and the band thought it looked cool. So Swart got
I
together.
like it.
It might be a way of kind of doing damage control.
Yeah, I love the artwork on that, man.
If you blow me up, I'll show you what the art is supposed to look like.
Yep.
Well, it's white. Yeah, right.
Yeah. That's
Actually, I like that because it really makes everything pop. But on the vinyl, I love that brownish sort of washed out whatever that color is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It feels like a companion to New Moon.
Yeah. A little bit. Yep.
You know, so but they already mentioned that when they do the next press runs, going back to the white, which is funny because the OG LP was already white, right? But then Smart did this little error. There's actually more copies of the error than there is of the white. If you're looking for it, you'd like chances are you're gonna run into this one, not the white one. Anyway, fucking Emerald Forest. I almost feel like with this, kind of what I did with between Morning Never Came and going right to Ghost of Loss. There's a stylistic difference. The last time I felt like that with the band, there's that transition, and the reason I say that is because it's dark and brooding as New Moon was. This is where we see them really embrace their softer elements.
A lot of acoustic stuff on this.
Yeah.
More progressive as well.
Yep, agree.
Yeah, the way you guys were describing it, I mean, great fucking opener. I mean, like it's just like when the Swallow Song album comes out, especially when it's happened during the time period, you can kind of count on that it's going to have a great fucking opener and ender. You know what I mean? Like they have a balancing that together.
Yep, that opener is unbelievable.
And here's where, if you've been following this band to this point and didn't think for some reason you were going to go in this direction, this cut is the deepest. No relation to Cat Stevens.
Oh boy, okay.
See what I did there, but
I like Cat Stevens. I have a couple box sets by him. Imagine that.
Man, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the acoustic sounding kind of elements. It's where they really explore this.
Yes.
Their fellow countrymen, Amorphous, has been doing it for years already. With their stuff, even when they did the more harsh vocals album, they still had these acoustic elements. And again, it had that folky, very Finnish thing going on here. But here, you can hear that they're also kind of taking that mantle and really embracing it, because I don't think we really heard them take that direction previously.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Again, up to this point, they've been pretty consistent, and all of a sudden, like that can be kind of jarring if you're not expecting it. Hate Lead the Way, man. Going from that song to this. It's a hell of a transition. Cathedral Walls. I've always liked Annette Olson. Even when she was Nightwish, she's kind of lower ranked when it comes to the singers. I know why. She had that popular kind of direction with her voice, but here it's so soulful and it's just it's just so. You know what I mean? She has those moments where she was doing that with Nightwish. You know what I mean? And then to have her, because then she was the name and she was in the band at the time. When this was still happening. And to hear her guest on this thing, it scratches that itch, even the way Aaliyah did. Like she has put an amazing performance in this. And there's a music video to this. I think that's kind of neat if you guys haven't seen it.
Never saw that. No.
Going through, everything you guys said, Hard Wide Shut, Silent Towers, and then the Labyrinth of London. It's an earworm, especially when you get to that chorus part, right?
Oh yeah.
The
chorus is like, hard to forget, right?
I would almost say, you can put it on the radio, but there's this harsh moments too. You know what I mean? Like,
well, it's also an 8-minute song, so I mean, a 7-minute song.
They could do Bohemian Rhapsody. They can do that. April 14th. God, it just going from this, man. Like again, did it outdo New Moon for me? It's it's different, and I enjoy that they did this direction. I wouldn't want a New Moon Part 2, knowing the band for who they are, what they're doing, and how they're progressing. You know what I mean? They decided to take some risks, and I think it paid off.
Yeah,
A performance toward the end there.
this album was an eye opener for me because it was the one album I was not familiar with. It was the one album I had kind of missed in between New Moon and when I saw them and Songs, which we'll start part 2 with. Man, this fucking album is a masterpiece. I'm just gonna say it straight out. I am blown away by this album. Like, and I don't know if it's just because like, oh, it's new to you, so you're just like super into it right now. But man, when you start out Emerald Forest and the Blackbird with the title track, and it is mostly acoustic predominantly, and it starts out with whispered spoken word. The intro vocals, you get Starbridge's goddamn, oh, just so beautiful vocals, man. She has that ethereal voice that you're either born with it or you're not, and she was. And we lost her in 2016, so just really sad. But heavy sustained chords that are kind of typical of Swallow the Sun, but not exactly. From you get that super full on black metal gnarly thing from 5 to 6 minutes, and then you get all that beautiful acoustic interlude. The last 2 minutes is super delicate and sad, almost classical music sounding. The song reminds me a lot of Emperor's Most out there crazy shit from like Equilibrium when it gets super complex and like overblown with synthesizers. But man, goddamn, that song Emerald in the Black Forest and Emerald Forest and the Blackbird. Goddamn, man. It's inexplicable what that sounds like. You have to go listen to it. There's no excuse for, I can try to explain every little nuance to you. You won't get it unless you listen to it. It's just fucking phenomenal way to open an album. This cut is the deepest. This is written by Miko. It's almost exclusively 12 string or acoustic. Holy shit. Like, it's a beautiful, amazingly beautiful acoustic song. Almost singer-songwriter. It's like this particular song, I couldn't put my finger on like what it sounded like. Like, who does this sound like? It doesn't sound like anybody. It sounds like Swallow the Sun with Miko on vocals, just doing this plaintive, emotional ballad that you just don't expect. And man, I don't know what you guys, I can't remember what you guys said about this song. I'm sorry because I'm drunk. But this song is fucking gorgeous, man. It is so good. His clean vocals on this might be his best that he's done. And then we jump into Hate Lead the Way. And again, we jump into Emperor, man. It sounds, Miko's voice sounds like Isan at his nastiest and gnarliest, like that. And I can't do that because I don't have that voice that can do that. But when he's doing that black metal, like, you're just like, holy fuck, man, this is insane. Yeah. A lot of tremolo picking on this one, which is not typical Swallow the Sun fare. They don't do a lot of tremolo picking. On this song, they go off on it. Miko's growls are nasty on this song. He incorporates every element of what he does best on this song. It's fucking killer, man. Hate Lead the Way might be one of their most gnarliest fucking evil songs they've ever done. It's so good. I do hear the E minor chord with the mayhem sort of vibe, with the tremolo picking thing. I also hear some Opeth here in the closing wailing guitars that has that kind of Drapery Falls thing, like wow, wow, that Ebo sort of moan. It's so good. God damn, man. Fuck, I love that song, man. Hearts Wide Shut. Opening is super duper Opethian. It is. Go listen to Opeth. It's very Opeth influenced. And then it's very synthy and orchestrated. Great. It's forlorn and sad, man. It's a beautiful ballad. Silent Towers, again, lush and orchestrated track, mostly acoustic, dreary, but beautiful and shimmering. Probably my least favorite track on the song on the album. And then we get to Labyrinth of London, man. To the Labyrinth of London. That chorus, if you don't dig it, you're fucking dead. You don't have a pulse. It's that simple. It is such a killer song. It's the last part of the horror quadrilogy. Man, it's so good. It's so good. It's so fucking good, man. Labyrinth of London. Just go check it out. Don't be a dick. Go check it out. Of Death and Corruption, I don't know. This one doesn't do much for me. It's okay. It's good. I don't love it. It's just okay. April 14th, Ode to Peter Steele. Great tune. Super melancholic. Doomy as fuck. Spoken word piano sections, which works perfectly with Peter Steele. Typo negative. And then you get into that super cool growl after the spoken word part. So heavy. The guitar melodies remind me so much of fucking Kenny Hickey, man. Like, it's obvious. It's obvious this is a tome to Peter Steele. And I don't know. I think both you guys are both typo negative fans, right?
Not
No?
so much. I don't.
And we have all the albums.
Well, I know Rick is, but I was. God, Jake. God damn, I got work to do with you, motherfucker, man. Okay. Night Will Forgive Us, man. Great closer. Is it as great as like fucking, like the ones on New Moon? We're talking on New Moon. We're talking Weight of the Dead, or fuck on goddamn. Obviously, with Hope, you've got Doomed to Walk the Earth. With Morning Never Came, you got Morning Never Came. Is it as good as those? I don't think it is, quite frankly. Hold on, I gotta plug my. Oh, come on, man! You fucking asshole. Sorry, gotta plug my laptop in. Is it as good as those songs? I don't quite think so, and that is maybe the one slight detractor of the album, is that doesn't close on a monster banger. But I don't know, man. This album blew my mind. It blew my mind. Like, this album, maybe it's because recency bias, and I'm going, oh, this is so good because I haven't heard it before. But I don't think that's it. I think this is a killer album. I am going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. It's so good. All day, every day. There's so many memorable tracks on here. Gorgeous melodies. If you have to own it, you got to own it. You got to own it. There's no reason not to own this album if you're a Swallow the Sun fan. And frankly, even if you aren't a Swallow the Sun fan, would this be a good place to start? Yeah, it would be. I think it would be.
Yeah, I think out of everything we've talked about tonight, all the albums, I think the only one that I wouldn't say is the best place to start is Ghost of Lost.
I agree. Yep.
I
mean, you could literally start with any of these. You could almost honestly even start with Plague of Butterflies and be like, wow. This band is really special, man. It's really special. There's not a lot of bands that kind of can write incredible songs that are lengthy. And again, these are lengthy songs. Every song of theirs is almost always over 5+ minutes. So you have to invest the physical and emotional brain space to get locked in on this stuff. Because if you're casually listening, you're just not going to pick up on it. You're not.
Yeah.
And we have 6 more albums to talk about. One's a triple, and the others are singles. But we have 6 more albums to talk about. And I got to be honest with you, the stuff that I listened to, barring the last album, which I'm going to tell you right up now, is my last album. It's my least favorite album. And it's not because it's not good. There's good songs on it.
It's the production.
It's the production. It's too poppy. It's
Dan Lancaster.
It's Dan Lancaster, right? And Juho, if you're watching, dude, I'm sorry. I don't think you're gonna watch this, but if you do, I love the new album, but it's my least favorite by far. And the reason is the production is too produced. Too produced, man. Go back to what you were doing because it worked. And the reality of it is this band's catalog it's one of the best out there. It's one of the best out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
final thoughts, Jake. Go ahead.
In your interview with Juha, I wish I had the exact quote, but you guys were talking about the music, and it's basically like he's basically said something like, this music is for people who have been through shit in life.
Yep.
If you don't connect with with the music, then he feels happy for you. He's glad that you don't understand the depths of the pain, the depths of sorrow that are layered into this music.
100%.
Which I think is just that quote from that interview just really resonated with me. I'm like, yeah, that is like the perfect encapsulation of Swallow the Sun. Like, this is music for people who have been through shit in life.
Listen, I think that all 3 of us, in particular Rick and I, know, and Jake, you know.
Yep.
Life is painful, man. Life is, for most of us, life hands us shit that we just don't know if we're going to get through it. We just don't know. And to be honest with you, some of us aren't going to get through it. This is life music, man. This is trying to navigate shit that hurts. Shit that scars us. And it takes no prisoners at times. And I'm grateful that I have this music in my life because it's kind of a soundtrack to who I am in a lot of ways.
And it's cathartic in a lot of ways to just listen to that pain that you're feeling in the form of a song, and just know that other people have felt that similar pain to you.
Yeah, you embrace the sorrow, right?
Yeah,
you embrace the pain, and you
it's
know that
a healing way.
It's a healing process. And I will say this straight up. I think I said it earlier. Juho writes some of the most beautiful music I've ever heard. It just is that way. And I don't, I've talked to people that are like, it's kind of it's kind of mid. It's like, no, man, you're just not connecting with where this is coming from. I mean, we can mention it real quick. We kind of did, but Juho lost the love of his life in Aaliyah. And they were together from, I believe, 2009, or was it a little before that, until 16. Maybe it was before that. I think it was before that.
I don't know the timeline. But
yeah,
I know they were soulmates, essentially.
Yeah, soulmates. And Rick, you know that feeling better than anyone sitting here right now. You know what that
Loss.
you know the pain that brings, and
There's
But we also have pain in different ways too. You know, people bereaved, but also people just going through depression. You know,
yeah, but it's deeper than that, bro. It's the human experience is one usually of pain. It's not usually, we can't all be millionaires and billionaires who have no financial worries about in our life, and if we're sick we can see
I would argue. I would argue these billionaires don't even have that feeling. It's like
they have no feeling. They have no feeling. They're dead. The only feeling they have is looking at their bank statement. And I don't want that, man. I never want that. That's not me.
you're
I can give
soulless. You
two
don't
fucks less, right? The bottom line for me is it's always about connecting with human beings that are good. It's about connecting with good people. It can never get better than that. It can't. And Swallow the Sun is it's special stuff. It's just special stuff, and not many bands have the ability to get deep inside your psyche and say, look at it this way, like feel this.
and there's an authenticity to it. Like, listening to their songs, that pain is real in their music. That this isn't just like, oh, let's write a depressive, sad.
Yeah, and I mean,
one.
listen, Yuho lost the love of his life, his soulmate, but everybody in that band had to have been close to her in some way, shape, or form. So, and every one of those guys in that band loves Yuho. They are brothers. So his pain is their pain.
Yep.
We'll talk a lot more about that coming up because that is what drives the next several albums, and it's intense and it's heartbreaking. And so part one is done. You got to see me get really emotional a couple times, but I don't care, man. I don't give a fuck. That's I'm battling something that most people just don't understand, except Rick. He understands it very well. We will do part 2 next Saturday, I think. We'll make sure before we announce it in the next day or so. But right now, I think we're in agreement. We want to wrap this up quickly.
Yep.
And we'll talk about songs from the North through The Shining, which is the last album, right?
And don't take our praise for the stuff we covered today as like saying, oh, we've covered all the good shit right now.
No.
The back half of the catalog is
just there are some choice
really, really fucking good albums and tracks in that.
Yes. Chef's Kiss stuff coming up right
I do want to add just for clarity, we brought up, if we were to count like how many band members we mentioned, Biko came up here and we mentioned he's amazing, extremely versatile, very dangerous because he can't take your job. So just be careful out there in the metal world.
Aaron Stainthorpe, we're talking to you, bud.
So
you look at his metal archives catalog and you're like, how do I not know more than like a couple of these bands?
I don't.
I've not been in, so many huge bands because his voice is just like you said earlier, Jeff. He is one of the best vocalists.
100%. When you talk about death and black metal, this guy
he can do
crushes.
both of them.
Yeah.
He can do both of them at the highest level.
I have a little bit of a problem going forward from here with the clean vocals. We'll talk about it. It's not a big problem. It's a small problem. He's still great, but I have some issues.
The reason I brought him up is because we mentioned him so many times, but I think everybody in this band really stepped it up. And between the bass performances, the percussion. I mean, it's just chef's kiss, man. Like,
Yeah.
Just a professional band.
If you're getting into this band and you're wondering where to start, any one of the albums we talked about works. I would say leave Ghost of Lost to last, but even then, you can't go wrong. It's still great.
Yeah, if you check that one out first, you're still probably going to really enjoy it.
Yeah, even if you check that album first, you're going to be like, oh, the next group of albums you check, you're going to be like, oh, shit, this is even better. And that's not in any way, shape, or form to denigrate Ghost of Lost, because I really love that album. But it's of all the ones we talked about tonight, it's probably my least favorite, and that will give you an idea of the formulary. But when we come back on next Saturday night at 9 p.m. tentatively, but I think it's written pretty well in stone, we're going to talk about Songs of the North, which is 3 fucking albums long. Gloom, Beauty, Despair. We're going to talk about A Shadow is Forced into Light. We're going to talk about Moonflowers. We're going to talk about The Shining. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Because this band, it just kind of hit me. As I was listening to this stuff over the week. This is a top 10 favorite band of mine all time. Easy. No doubt. So, last thoughts, Rick?
No, that was it, man. Fucking great band, man. It just hits you right here in the feels. Don't be afraid to have feels. It's a strength, damn it.
Yeah, for sure. And I apologize. I've gotten kind of weepy, but I'm going through a lot of tough stuff, and I don't know honestly how much longer I have. And that's not a joke. Rick's been around me. He knows what I'm dealing with firsthand. And a month ago, I was pretty good. This month, I'm barely able to function. So, again, in the hospital 10 hours the other night, and they're just not sure what's going on. And I go down to Penn on the 8th, and we'll find out if they have any answers. My guess is probably not. But yeah, I want to thank Rick from the Dreadful Minutes for doing the thumbnail, by the way, too. And because I can do nice thumbs, Rick does otherworldly shit.
I'm doing 2 for this, man. It's a part 2 coming out.
You are doing a part 2. He's doing another one, right? And man, it's
sorry to lot more work onto you there.
What's that?
Sorry to lot more work onto you there.
He's just gonna switch a little bit around. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And I have to say, man, Jake, dude, I love you, man. I love you so much as a friend. And it's so good to have you here. Like, seriously, man, it makes me want to cry. I just
I wouldn't have wanted to do this stream with anybody else besides you two. You guys are,
man, like 2 of my best friends in the world.
Yep.
It's no joke. You guys are awesome. And okay, so moving on, we have a follow stream for Saturday Slay Crew, and we're gonna start that in we're about 10 minutes late, so we'll start about quarter of. I have to take a piss and throw a pizza in the oven. But anybody that wants to join in, I sent you messages. But we're on to part 2 next Saturday, tentatively, but probably 9 o'clock, right?
Most definitely.
Yeah. So we have to wrap this up because, like Jake said, if you think we talked about all the great stuff, you're wrong. There's a lot of great stuff coming. And we've talked about maybe the pinnacle stuff, but I don't even know about that, man. There are 3 albums coming up. One of them is a 3-album set that are just fucking amazing. And I got to go back to Juho. This guy I don't know how he does it.
Listening to the music, you don't want to know the pain inside that man.
No.
To know that.
But Juho, we love you, bro. We love you, man. We love you. Thank you so much for the music that you've given us because it's special to us. It means so much to us. And we can't thank you for, we feel for the pain you've dealt with, dude. And we know, especially this guy right here, this guy knows the pain that you felt.
I'm happy to know that he's got this outlet and he's moved on in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Not many people get through that, something like that.
And again, Vikings don't like fucking Finnish chicks. There you go. All right, we're gonna end there because, like, is there any other like fucking like close the books on anything statement I could say? No. But thank you for everybody that's been here tonight. We really appreciate you. For those of you that discover this later, man, just get into this band. They are fucking epic. They are so good. I don't even know what else to say. They're just so good. And that's all I think I have to say. So, going to end there. Thank you. Good night. And for those of you that jump on in 5 minutes or so, we'll see you shortly, okay?